welcome to the Saladcast on Sunday the 24th of March 2013. I'm your host Dan Trade. Joining me today, Zachary Burgess.
Oh, he pointed. He's bringing back the pointing.
Pointing is vital. It's part of the thing.
Extremely vital.
I should point at the wrong person. That would be
that
confusing.
Deliberately confusing.
Zachary Burgess. And Robert Kemp.
I can't do an impression of Rob.
Yeah, you can.
No, I'd have to think about it though.
That'll take too long. That's what they need to Something to do with pizza cravings. I don't know.
Butt cheese pizza.
I don't want one of those. I'm not sure I want a butt cheese pizza. Are there any cheeses made from butts? I'm going with no.
Cheese is made from milk.
There's some kind of milk that comes from a butt. Butt milk. Not buttermilk. I suppose that's the closest. The buttermilk cheese pizza.
How is that close? Butter's made with milk as well.
Without the word butter. That's how close it is.
I'm trying to, yeah. Yes.
So from now on, you don't say like I'm going to put butter in the sandwich. You say I'm going to put butter in the sandwich because it's a shorter thing, obviously.
Would you like
not confusing at all?
Would you like some butt spread?
Do you want some butt in your chip butty?
It's a butty.
Exactly. You can't be a butty without
butty.
It's a butt butty where you put butter on two slices of it, and then in the middle you've just got this solid lump of butter. So it then is literally a butter butty.
I've sort of had to do that before because we use actual butter in our house. It gets really hard in the winter.
Yeah,
and when it's come, especially doubly so when it's come right out of the fridge. And it's really difficult to spread. So what I sometimes do when I'm feeling lazy and I'm having toast is I just use a butter knife and slice a chunk of butter off and just put it on the
I remember having to do that at your house on a regular basis.
I had a steak sandwich for lunch that I got from Marks and heated up in the oven. Steak sandwich. And think about it, if that was like rump steak, then that was effectively a butt butty.
Sandwich, yeah.
It's a butt butty.
Well, there we go then. We've uncovered it. It was butt butty.
It was cat butt. But nevertheless, cow butt. I know a cat butt butty. That'd be horrid. Yeah, it could have been horse butt for all I know. But either way, definitely you can't make cheese out of butts.
Okay, solved.
The mystery solved.
Fact. You heard it here
You heard it here ever.
You heard it here, well, as well as everywhere else.
Fact times importance equals news.
Speaking of which, are you segueing straight into news?
No, that's fine. You can carry on with random if you wish.
Random for a while.
So I went to a Chinese wedding banquet this week.
Right.
Whose wedding was that?
Friend of the show, Eddie, who's been on.
I thought he was already married.
Yeah, well, yeah. This is the thing, you know, Chinese weddings.
The second
Chinese weddings are a bit nuts.
They can do whatever the fuck they want.
Well, they have 3.
Okay.
Basically. And apparently this is a common thing that I wasn't aware of. So apologies in advice if I step on any racial badness here.
Apologies in advice. That's a good one.
Well, you know, I'm not sure if what I'm saying is entirely accurate. You know, this is just what I was told and what
No, you just...
well, we're just wondering whether that was a Robism.
Yeah, was that a Robism?
What? Apologies in advance?
No, you didn't say advice. That. You said apologies in advice.
Oh, well, I didn't mean to say.
Okay,
so it wasn't Robin.
It wasn't
that was just Rob saying things.
Okay,
that was accidental. Yeah. Shit.
Carry on.
So yeah, they have like 3. So Eddie got married like months ago.
Yep.
Legally in this country in with like a small thing in a reception office, I believe. Like something.
Oh yeah,
so they legally get married.
Yeah. That one really doesn't even count for any like races.
No, it doesn't.
That's just like the government wedding.
They just have to do that. And then over the holiday season, he was in Hong Kong for a long period of time, and so they have a big ceremonial wedding thing that follows the Chinese tradition.
Cool, yeah.
So they do all the blessing stuff, they do all the red packets, and they do all the
awesome.
So big shebang. The photos are nuts. Has to be said. They make him look like they're on some kind of fashion shoot. They're incredibly well shot.
Cool.
And like they had them.
How big is the dress? Like
there were several.
Okay.
It's like there isn't just one.
Okay.
Coco's had like 4 or 5 of them, I think, throughout these processes. It's awesome. But so yeah, and then the one I was at was like basically a English reception for all of that stuff that came before.
I get it.
So it's like, so they can encompass all of what must be an enormous collection of friends and family.
It's just like for people who couldn't get to Hong Kong, obviously.
Pretty much, yeah.
Like you. So
we were the English table. Like the one English table at this 200-person Chinese banquet.
Sweet.
Which is, it was pretty cool. Like, I got to meet a lot of Eddie's friends from about the country and stuff like that. But, okay, this was the thing. We knew, we weren't quite sure what we were getting into, none of us. And then we knew that it was going to be about a 4-hour gig. And we weren't quite sure how this was going to work. Is it going to be like, is it a 4-hour thing, like do a meal beforehand and then it's like typical party afterwards? No. It's a 12-course meal spanning the entire 4 hours.
Awesome.
It's friggin' odd. It's got to be said. It's like, it's sweet in concept.
But did you know that it was going to carry on for 4 hours when you started?
Yeah, we knew that there was a 4-hour time frame of this thing starting to ending.
But did you know that this would continue to arrive?
No, we didn't know that.
Because if I didn't know, I'd just eat my fill straight away on whatever's available. Like, how big... If the portions were big enough, you could just eat two whole meals and then within an hour, and then you...
Well, the way it was done is it was done like... So each course was a platter put on the middle of the table and then you pick up...
Lazy Susan.
Yeah, basically. With the rotatey bit in the middle of the table so everyone can... get it whichever part they need access to.
That's what they're called, right? I don't know why.
Oh, is that what the rotate thing was called?
Yeah,
Lazy
Susan.
I don't know why. I thought that was like a delivery device, like a...
No, that's a dumbwaiter.
Oh, okay.
That's a what?
Dumbwaiter.
All right, yeah.
There might have been those
the thing in the wall. The trundles.
The thing in the wall that trundles.
So food trundlers.
Yeah,
food trundlers. And Lazy Susans.
So, there was... It's interesting, some of them weren't actually much, there wasn't much food to them, I suppose. It was just like, a lot of it was spectacle, because it was all traditional Chinese stuff. So, let's just set the picture here. The first thing we get, and we had the menu for this, so we kind of knew the order it was all coming in. But the first thing is a whole suckling pig.
Classic.
Nice.
So it's a piglet with a head there and everything. It's basically like you've just peeled the pig, and it's just been laid flat, like, on this tray. And you can, it's
not a big,
cut, so you can pick it up.
Pig, obviously.
No,
like
a piglet.
A piglet.
It was a piglet.
Why do they kill little piglets?
It's like...
Because
it's like veal.
Delicious.
Do they taste different to, like...
Yeah, it did taste different to regular pork.
Seems like you'd wait until it was bigger and you'd have more meat.
More than it would like it gets like warmed down by the world.
The weight of the world.
That's basically how meat works.
That's how
like old meat is more tough.
The veal is awesome because it's so like virgin and,
exactly.
and it hasn't had to suffer the.
But I'm eating all that bovine wisdom milk.
It's like those stupid Japanese cows that they massage or whatever.
Oh yeah, those are awesome.
Kobe beef. Kobe beef's amazing.
So expensive.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
They feed them on beer.
Yeah, it's basically the same idea. It's like those cows are like super pampered so they don't get exposed to the toughness
of the world.
That was the weird thing about that Kobe beef is you can like literally see like the fat. You can see it's like marble or something in the meat. You can look at it and go, "Fuck, that looks super tasty compared to normal beef," which is scary. That all you do is you treat it differently and you give it beer and shit, and then its flesh looks different.
I've never had Kobe beef. I really want to try it. It looks
so do I.
It looks amazing.
It's expensive.
Yeah, of course it is.
Or just baby animals instead.
Baby
animals. Yeah. So the next few courses were a bit more sane. So
did you eat the pig ass then? Or
did you eat pig butt?
I think it was more around like the midriff.
Right.
The trotters were still on the platter, and as I say, the whole head was just sat there.
Break it open and get the brain.
No. We did say someone to just pick up the snout and go like a bell pepper.
Oh man,
is the brain in there?
No one
Who knows?
No, probably. The eyes didn't appear to be there.
Right. Okay.
Disappointing.
Yeah, Zach's favourite.
Well, I don't know. Eyes are supposed to be good in some cases.
Yeah, delicacy of some cultures, aren't they?
I think probably suckling pig eyes would be too small. They probably get like burnt if it was cooked with the rest of it. Is my guess.
So yeah, as I say, the rest of the courses were relatively same. Like the next one was basically fancy fish fingers, which they called like seafood paper wraps. It's like Yeah, fine.
I think this episode is not going to be safe for vegetarians, is it?
No. It's
late to say that now.
It gets worse from here. Like
Okay.
the next one was scallops and asparagus, which is really nice as well. A lot of fish, basically, at this menu. A lot of fish. That was nice. And then there was lobster. So this was the first time I'd ever eaten lobster.
Oh, it's nice.
So you can murder everyone in the vicinity with bits of flying shell.
It's a lot of work, has to be said. Like the shell is pretty hard, and even when you get into it, it's like getting the meat off of the shell is kind of tricky in places. Like especially some bits, anyway. Like a claw wasn't so bad. I don't know what the fuck it was kind of difficult, and a bit from probably, and a bit from around the waist, I suppose. Like that sort of like 3/4 of the way down the lobster was a really lovely bit that had, the thing just fell off. It was into your mouth.
Or maybe that was really bad and you just don't know.
Well, yeah, but this is the thing. It was nice, but I don't quite get why lobster has this image of being like an uber food. Because it was tasty, but to me it's like the scallops were nicer, or a prawn would have been nicer, you know?
I think there's some kind of, there's a scarcity thing going on with lobster, because I think, on the American, East Coast, I think it's quite normal. Like in New York and stuff, they have relatively fast foody restaurants, like a Pizza Express equivalent, and all they do is lobster. I think just because there's loads of lobster to catch.
I suppose it depends on the area, yeah.
Exactly. So I think we probably, or European culture, sees it as more of a delicacy just because it's not been as available.
And there's obviously, special, even in America, there'll be special types of ones that is naturally grown or bigger or whatever.
Yeah. Sure.
One special catches, I guess.
Yeah.
Not just like salmon, really.
I think that's probably higher quality. Higher quality lobsters.
So I suppose the other thing to this story is that it was classically like the lobsters were in a tank as we were walking into this place, and they were all freshly made.
And then they all disappeared.
Yeah, good. There weren't many left when we left.
My friend Stu that does stand up, he has a joke about saying, "Oh, is this one a mother? This lobster?" He says, "Does it have any children here?" "Yes." "Okay. So which one do you want to eat? Make her choose." It's like Sophie's lobster.
Oh dear.
Yeah. Anyway,
lobster would care. Lobster would eat it if they were tasty.
Probably.
So it was alright. It was interesting. Not sure I'd choose it again. Yeah, it just seems like an elitist food to me after having had it. It's just like, well, it's nice, but it's not.
It's a fun thing to have.
Yeah, exactly. It's an event food.
It is an event food. I think the first time I really had it was I had surf and turf at the Belga or whatever. That was only half a lobster or whatever, and a really nice steak as well.
It's a really fancy surf and turf.
No, that's a proper surf and turf. You know, I think
scampi.
Yeah,
gotta have scampi.
That was pretty good.
Guess what came next? There was crispy pigeon, probably. That was tasty.
Probably.
That was what I forget.
Probably.
A bird.
I'm forgetting the order at this point. But yeah, that was crispy pigeon. That was quite tasty. And because it's it's a bit like chicken. Except the heads were placed on the platter as like a decoration. So they were like pigeon heads just looking at you.
Put them on a cocktail stick.
Were they all around, and then the Lazy Susan spun, and you just got a parade of like pigeon heads looking at you?
So yeah, they were kind of around the outside, but they weren't because they were laying on their side. They weren't exactly.
Oh, okay.
It was a bit.
Okay, they weren't actually.
It wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't like fixed up right. So it's all just fuck.
Oh, cool. You could do that with a cocktail stick.
You could. I'm glad they didn't.
Anyway,
with the brains in there, the most important question.
No, I don't think any of us picked up a head.
You just want to eat some brains. It's like, I mean,
are you really a zombie?
Presumably, the only reason people don't eat brains of animals, presumably, is because they're not tasty. Presumably,
yeah,
right?
they're like it's like not meat.
Yeah,
basically,
it's not a muscle.
And also, there was the whole mad cow disease thing as well.
Yeah,
that also kind of put people off brains.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
brilliant.
Yeah. Was that, did they catch mad cow disease because they were eating other animals' brains in their food?
Yeah,
or it spread because of that? Right?
Yeah, or is it that just where the chemicals are?
There's some
more
other thing.
Yeah, I don't know.
There's another related. I'm not sure if it's the same as mad cow disease or another thing, but there's some other kind of horrible something you can catch off eating brains.
Right, okay. I'm trying to avoid eating brains in the future. Okay.
I caught this horrible something.
It's like rogue proteins or something, isn't it? Whatever the fuck they're called. I can't remember.
Rogue protein.
Yeah, you get these proteins that just they come from other things' brains and they get in your brain and they fuck you up real good.
They can die and come back stronger. Just keep trying. Rogue protein.
So anyway.
Yeah, so there was that. There was some turbot, which is basically just skate.
Yeah.
Which is quite nice. We had some... at this point, some guy from the opposite table saw that we were kind of struggling to strip the meat from the bones on this thing. And it's like, none of us were really... I've tried it once before on skate and failed miserably. So this guy just comes over and was like, head off, tail off, scrape, 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 scrape.
Shit.
There you go. And he's like, yeah, great. But then he kept saying over and over again, and this is where some of the like language barrier started to creep in a little bit, because he was speaking in broken English, but he kept saying, meat for ladies, gentlemen, you get bone. It's like, great, okay, that was kind of funny the first time. It's like, well, I mean, I'm guessing he means ladies get to choose first. But not many of them wanted it. So, so then he sat there just going, meat for ladies, bone for men, like over and over. And we were like, right, okay, how do we deal with this? It was very, very nice of him to cut it up, but so kudos to this guy. If you're randomly listening, you can understand what I'm saying. but yeah, that was kind of awkward. It was at this point we met a guy of Scottish Chinese descent, who then downed half a bottle of 130-pound cognac.
Shit.
And we were just like, holy crap! Yeah, so it turns out I don't like cognac. So I learned that as well.
I could have predicted that, I think.
Yeah.
Could have seen that one coming.
It's not great. It's a bit like whiskey. But to me, anyway. What was that? What else was there? Shark fin soup.
Yeah, that's
quite nice
common.
if you don't breathe. I found it. I found the if I could smell it, it was worse tasting than if you just had it and didn't breathe through your nose. Like, because there was something.
When you didn't taste it at all.
Well, no, I could taste some of it, but it's like.
Is shark fin soup bad for some conservation reason? Like, I know, but aren't there just loads of there are loads of sharks, right? What's the problem?
I think it depends what kind of shark.
It's not like whales where they're
it's
like. It's
probably like what kinds of shark, and it's probably like what they do with the rest of the shark.
Maybe. Yeah.
What? Just chuck it away? Or something?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Just the fin seems a little exuberant, doesn't it?
Exuberant.
Excessive. We're coming on the word that he means.
Yeah.
Exuberant, I was trying to think like,
extravagant.
Extravagant.
Yeah. It's got it.
Yeah, that's it.
Exuberant.
It's sort of the same.
Woo! Shark fins! Woo!
Excessive is also sort of the same.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I stand by it.
Exuberance. All his shark with exuberance.
Well, yeah, it's like one of those. It's not necessarily that when you're then showing. I've made a soup out of nothing but shark fins. You're like, that act is kind of exuberant, isn't it?
I'm not really sure about that.
Let's move on further.
Fucking guys, I know.
So, apologies in advice for that.
I did not say that.
You did actually say that, but that wasn't your fault that time.
Right.
Fuck this story.
It's a good story. I like this.
Okay, good.
Is that the end of your courses, or are there any more?
I was glutinous rice, as it was labelled. Oh no, wait! I've missed the best bit. Goose feet.
Goose feet.
That's how it was pronounced. That was how it was on the menu. Goose feet.
Well.
Yeah. And that's basically like, have you ever seen those cartoons where like cats get hold of a fish, they shove the fish in their mouth, they pull out the tail and it's nothing but bones?
Yeah.
That's how you have to eat goose feet.
Right.
You have to just put the whole thing in your mouth like, and go and like suck the meat off it.
Do all the bones actually stay like attached?
Most.
Or do they just fall off in your mouth?
Most.
It doesn't seem like they would.
Yeah. What are they connected?
Well, the
by?
meat was like very.
Yeah.
The meat basically just fell off, so it was really wasn't really attached to anything.
Okay.
And it was like that was okay tasting, but it's highly fatty. You're basically eating nothing but fat.
How is it fatty?
That's the bit I don't
There's no
get.
fat on feet.
But it was like, yeah, that's what
bird feet.
That's the weird thing. But that's what it tasted like, just nothing but fat. Like,
right. It doesn't sound that appealing.
It was alright. It was alright. It was quite. I think it would have been better, but if it wasn't for the texture of it, it's quite slimy, which is odd. It's like downing a snail.
Well, that's dumb.
Yeah, I know, but I'm not saying I like it.
I think that's slightly for a different reason.
Yeah.
And it had abalone in the same dish as well, which is like a mollusk.
That's my favourite episode of Iron Chef, that abalone.
Is it?
Abalone battle!
Abalone.
It's like super expensive, and they had like a massive pile of it or something.
Yeah,
and they had to make
nice.
dessert out of it and stuff.
Did not like abalone. Or abalone. Don't know how to pronounce it, but it wasn't not my favourite. And then, glutinous rice, which is just sticky rice, basically, and a normal noodle dish to finish. And then dessert things, but they had these fig pancake thing, or like fig pastries that were really nice, actually. But there weren't many of them, so they went very quick. And that was that. And I drank way too much Coca-Cola. It was a bit hyper.
So like more than one glass.
Yeah, I got quite a lot of Coca-Cola because I couldn't drink because I was driving, so the soft drinks were my route out. And there was loads of it.
How did you manage to not get full instantly if you're downing Coke and eating all of that shit?
4 hours, I tell you. That's how you don't get full instantly.
You just sort of...
Yeah, as I say, it's all paste, so it's like you're just nibbling over the 4 hour period, I guess. In fairness, by the end of it, we weren't really eating much of the remaining dishes. Not much of the glutinous rice got eaten, and not much of the actual noodle dish got eaten, despite them being delicious.
Cool. And so did Eddie have a good time?
Yeah. He sounded like he was like apparently he didn't get to eat very much because he was like being handed around, I suppose, like a show person. It was and being made to drink constantly. They had this awesome moment where I think a load of men probably like close to him and his family, I suppose, like they all came around and did this train round every table, basically just going out, and then sort of like everyone had to have like some wine at that point, and then do this thing where everyone just leans into the middle of the table and goes, "Ray!" Nothing else is said, just that, and then they move on to the next table, and it's like so they did that, and then they did that, and then the bride side came around and did that as well. So, "Ray!" It was just cool hearing it go round the room. Yeah, that was about it, and. Yeah, then the Scots guy who downed half the cognac started getting on a microphone and started just talking incredibly loudly into it. Of course, it was all in Mandarin. So we had no idea what was going on. And then there was like several moments where he was saying, "Ho!" And then the crowd went, "Ho!" And we were like, "Let's do something, ho!" We don't know what we're cheering.
Sweet.
Yeah, so it was entertaining.
Chinese weddings then. Yeah. Awesome food and crazy awesome.
I'm glad I was invited. Thank you very much, Eddie, for letting me be there. But it was bonkers.
So, Zach, what about your escapades?
What escapades?
You got any crazy stories from the last couple of weeks or longer?
I got a new car, I guess, not really new. But we had to take the other one to scrap.
Seriously?
Couldn't sell that shit.
Because it's so crap.
Well, it wasn't watertight.
No, that was one of its many problems.
Piece of shit, that car. I can't believe you managed to.
But then it was like...
down the road.
It was like, obviously... I was thinking about it. It was like, obviously take the spare tyre out.
Right.
You'd probably sell that for cash.
Yeah, maybe.
But then I was thinking
like... good.
Then I was thinking like, if you're going to scrap it anyway, take all the wheels off.
Yes, sell all the wheels.
But then it was like, how would you get it there?
But that's why
pickups.
But that's where the scrap merchants.
Yeah, that's. Then I was like, yeah, so they wouldn't give you any money for it, obviously, if you took all the wheels off.
No.
Or less.
Well, the more you take off the car, the less you get back. You'd probably still make more money out of it than you would selling it to the scrapper, but or paying them to scrap it, I suppose. Sometimes how it works out.
And I hope we took everything out of there. Not that I had anything in there.
It's like when I sold one of my first Focus and realised I'd left my White Stripe CD in the CD player.
Oh no!
The bastard never did send it back, even though he said he would.
Which one? White Blood?
Icky Thump.
Oh, Icky Thump. That's
okay. That's fine. He can have that one.
That was not the best. No,
I like that one.
It's a good one. Yeah, they're all good.
Oh, yeah. I was about to say. It's like, is there a bad one?
No.
Maybe less elephant, I guess, but
Elephant's the one that everyone will love.
No, is it? Get Behind Me? Satan?
You think he'll Get Behind Me?
Yeah, it's that one.
I like that one though.
Yeah, it's good, but it's probably my least white stripey one.
It's the least guitar-y one.
Yeah.
It's mostly pianos and shit.
Music.
And the marimba on the nurse.
Yeah, I quite like that one.
That one's cool.
So new car.
New car.
It's still a Clio.
Yeah, it's basically the same except less bad.
Is it the same? Does it look the same from the outside?
Not
styling
exactly,
wise, or is it like a...
Not exactly, but it's sort of
Pretty close.
Yeah.
Because I when I was learning, I drove a new Clio, and they're quite nice. I don't know, not that I've driven any other cars, but
No.
it was fine.
That was the reason why we got this car. It's like, I've never driven any other cars ever. I drove just the same one again.
Yeah,
Be safe. It's not really my car yet still, so,
and there's a new.
This one is slightly
Clio.
more my car than the last one, I suppose.
You see, okay, this is where I was getting confused with the word exuberant, because you can use it to describe luxurious foliage, apparently, according to this example from dictionary.
That sounds like one of those bollocks terms, like how they describe wine. That sounds like a wine tasting term.
Yeah, it seems like
foliage is exuberant. That sounds like a flower arranging term.
Yeah.
I think you might be right, but yeah, it probably was misused there to begin with, and
But I can't see how you would have picked that up. Rob secretly does a lot of flower arranging.
I don't know, maybe it's one of those words that's misused frequently, and I picked up the misuse, like, for all intensive purposes. Like, I literally thought that was, people say that, it's wrong, and I didn't know it was wrong.
Yeah.
I don't know, that sounds more like a mispronunciation that you picked up. Like, someone
people say
didn't
that.
hear it.
It's an eggcorn.
It's a common one.
It's an eggcorn, as they would say on... Yeah, Adam and Joe had a whole section on these misheard things, and they were called eggcorns after someone thinking that acorns was pronounced eggcorn because they look like eggs. Yeah.
Tree eggs.
Yeah, and there's stuff like the pot will call the kettle back, stuff like that. And
that's a good one.
yeah. Oh, and there's a whole bunch of them. Check out the eggcorns, but some of them are really good.
Well, it's like some of them are brilliant. Are the ones that are like how you can ruin a song sometimes by mishearing a lyric. Like, now these are the sounds of the wickedness, musical biscuits.
That was the best.
It's an old reference.
That made it better.
Or there was a drum and bass song a few years ago that was like, that just basically said, I feel about you a lot, but it says, I feel about ya. And, so, and of course everyone thought, I feel a badger. That took over. Radio 1 stopped playing it after that. Because everyone was like, I feel a badger.
Have you heard the phrase, we outcha?
We outcha.
Yeah.
Probably have, but it doesn't make any sense to me.
Just wondering. Yeah.
We outcha.
We outcha. It means, like, we're out here, I don't know. That's what it literally means, is we're out here, but it's like, we're I don't know.
Is it
we
like
have a salad, we outcha.
Is it like after you've had a night out at the expense of a voucher? It's like when you leave, we outcha.
Yeah, probably certainly. It is saying that now. Whenever it's time to leave, instead of the club, it's like, we outcha.
And is it like, or is it just like a weird thing, like, we out, yeah? Like, but it comes out as, we outcha?
I'm going to look it up on the Urban Dictionary.
Like the T is used weirdly, as I suppose. We outcha?
Urban Dictionary, outcha. There we go.
get a well with an outcha.
Literally spelt with 2 R's.
That's a very good dictionary reference.
Yeah, literally means out here, not to be confused with outcha, which means out of you or from you.
Oh.
Also can be used to define an action such as leaving or going away.
Outcha.
We outcha in front of the club, ready to go in. Or alternatively, it's 11:30, it's time for us to go. We outcha.
See, I was sort of right.
Yeah, exactly.
Sort of.
Basically saying you're out in the streets, or you could do that because you've earned your respect to.
Could I describe
What?
That's what it's saying.
That's the most urban dictionary definition.
Yeah.
Could I describe? Would you describe use of like we outcha as exuberant?
Yeah.
Okay, good. I'm getting this now.
Somebody says to you, "You just going to sell those drugs for a living." I'm outcha.
That's Duncan Bannatyne.
Yeah, let's talk about I'm outcha. Anyway,
I don't like what you're selling. I'm outcha.
so news. What's going on in the world of video games?
So, well, yeah. Let's get through the news that we all know that we were discussing before the cast. I suppose XCOM on iOS.
Yep,
sounds awesome.
It does sound awesome.
I'm not going to play it because I've got a PC there.
We don't care, but never mind.
But it's a good fit if they can pull it off.
It's interesting because
why, have more Civ games would fit on the iOS too.
This is true. If they weren't the annoyingly
Probably
cut
better.
down Civilization Revolution, it'd be nice if it was full Civ.
yeah, Civ 4 on the iPad would be
awesome.
Or 5.
Yeah.
5 would work, right? I don't know.
5 would probably work better.
Yeah.
I want to see more in-depth strategy games come to the platform. It seems suited. It seems well suited for that.
That's true. It might happen if they're doing XCOM and they're doing an expansion for 5 that's coming out this summer.
Yeah, if it does well. Well, Civ 5 never made it to iOS.
No, but I'm just saying, it could do. I don't see why not, especially if it's a success.
Well, I suppose it's the same team, isn't it? It's for access.
Yeah, well, exactly. It's for access. It's interesting, the pricing, because it's like the most expensive iOS game apps are the most expensive are $15. Still half
and
the
they're
price.
the Squeenix ones that then have 1 million in-game paid things as well, and because Squeenix are evil.
So what's the price for a full game on iOS?
It's a very good question. It's hard to say because there aren't many games that are that large in scope on iOS. It's like I've never played the Infinity Blades, but even when I think about those, it's like I don't think even they're that large in scope.
How much disk space is it going to take up as well?
Well, gigs.
Yeah, it's going to be.
Presumably they'll have to factor it down because the iPad's not going to be able to handle 360 and the PC quality graphics. Not at the resolution the iPad is kicking out anyway. Not a new iPad anyway. So they're going to have to lower the assets. The texture quality will probably be down. They'll lose some effects and things like that. Like some of the environmental stuff, like rain and stuff, might go away. Yeah, but that's at no real detriment to the game.
No, I think
so they can quite easily lose quality and it still be a great game.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's interesting.
When I say quality, I mean visual fidelity. Quality makes it sound like you can easily fuck this up and it will still be a great game.
yeah, it's so good. Well, I don't know. The original game is not exactly good looking at this point, is it? But still awesome, right? Yeah, but XCOM. Yeah, that's cool news.
It is good news. Yeah, as I say, I think the tab. We're yet to see what I'd call gamers' games really hit. By the
we're doing air quotes, by the way, listeners.
Yeah, by the term. I suppose the traditional use of the word gamers games.
Yeah,
let's call that. There's no.
Still don't like the word gamers. Anyway.
Yeah, I'm starting to turn around now. I'm normally the one to sit back and say, well, gamer is a fairly good description of someone who is an enthusiast of games. Yeah. But it's
an exuberant of games.
Shut up, Zach.
I'm exuberant.
I think you can, actually. I think you can use it in that phrasing.
Is that a different letter on it? Is it exuberant instead of an exuberant, or...
I've never heard that.
No, I've never heard of that.
It's definitely more obscure. I think you can use it that way.
Is it like an enthusiast, an exuberant? No.
Yeah, it's like saying a person who's exuberant. He's an exuberant.
Yeah.
Don't look that up.
Would you be an exuberavert? like an introvert?
That's not quite how that phrase works. I think introvert. You can't just add vert to everything and have it be.
I was trying to think of another word where it could, like, what
that'd be great if that was true, though. I'm an enthusiast of birds.
Google says there's no noun of exuberant.
There is now.
Yeah, we've made it an exuberant. What are we talking about?
I think there could be a renaissance in strategy games due to the iPad.
Yeah,
it's tablets in general.
It's a great platform for that. It really is. Because, I liked last year Anomaly, I thought played really well on iPad. And to the point where it's like, I'm not entirely sure, because they made soon after that came out, they released the console versions, like 360 and PS3 versions of it, and I'm sitting there going, this isn't going to work as well on these platforms as it does on the iPad. The ability to touch where you want something to happen is great.
I mean, it's weird that touch is such a problem for most games on tablets or whatever, but it's actually perfect for
strategy,
even better than a mouse in some ways, depending how you look at it.
Yeah, I think
you don't have the precision of a mouse, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, it worked for Anomaly even though it was real time and stuff like that. I think I would almost prefer
pinch zoom, I guess. You can't do that with a mouse.
Turn-based stuff, I think, is going to work, naturally, because it fits the tablet's use cases better if you do a turn-based strategy game. I think, as soon as you start getting into the territory of real time, I don't know. some of the gestures you might have to be doing might make playing those games kind of tiring.
Yeah, isn't that a normally thing?
It normally is real time, and it's like sometimes it can screw you over with, like it's registered a touch in the wrong place, or like I've tried to scroll with a swipe and it's done a click instead.
Yeah,
and it's not quite what I wanted to do. So there's some, and that could be failings just on my part rather than the games. You know what I mean? Like, but there are some funkiness with RTS, but turn-based, it's going to work brilliantly.
I guess with a lot of RTS, the original Command & Conquer had one click to select and one click to move, but mostly it's like left click to select and right click.
Yeah, and you don't have this.
You don't have that alt touch, do you?
No, I mean, they're like when I play games like Outwitters and stuff, they get around the problem by having a when you click down somewhere that's not got a unit on it, it will take your currently selected unit and then ask you at that point, did you mean to move? And give you the option to back out.
Right. And
it's like that's a pretty clean way of doing it, because then you don't accidentally make a move, or you're less likely to make an accidental move.
Just do it multi-touch. Have it like so.
But then you lose precision.
Hold on the unit you're selecting and push where you want to go.
But then what if you're trying to order them to go somewhere and they're not on the screen? If you want to scroll across.
Well, if you've got them selected, then you should hold on the unit icon on like a little portrait in the corner to show you what you've got selected if it's not on the screen. There you go. That's my UI solution.
Perhaps. I'm not sure that's totally intuitive, but you have a point. That could work.
Oh, who knows?
Yeah, but you know what I mean? There's some oddness there. It's like when you can...
It's like advanced.
I suppose actually even when you're talking about games of any kind of scale where you do need to be like zooming and stuff like that, there's always a bit of a UI issue there in general that we've just kind of got used to, I suppose, with the mouse. But yeah, so good fit. I want to see how that goes.
Yeah, cool. That's good news.
Exciting news! No, seriously, this got me properly. This got me properly.
Oh, damn it!
I think that's actually a legitimate use.
Yeah, I got exuberant for this news, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay, good. That one's passed.
No one can see me shaking my head.
Multiplayer shooter that we all really quite enjoyed back in, I suppose a couple of generations ago. One generation ago. Original Xbox, GameCube, and PS2 release.
Fuck is this?
By an offshoot of Rare known as Free Radical.
Whoa!
TimeSplitters.
What's the news?
There is a fan project called TimeSplitters Rewind.
Right.
That has been given the blessing of Crytek.
Right.
So there is a new TimeSplitters multiplayer game being made by currently a fan team, but Crytek may get involved if it starts looking like it's going well. It's quite way in now.
It's a PC game.
It will be PC.
What's the engine?
Crytek 3.
Really?
CryEngine 3, yeah.
Shit.
So they're doing a homage to all things like pulling assets and levels and stuff from the first 3 TimeSplitters games to make a newer.
Okay.
And it's like, this sounds awesome.
Okay.
It's like, it's early days, and
it's got monkeys.
It has got, of course it's got monkeys.
Probably only got monkeys.
But yeah, the plan is to base it on the multiplayer modes from the first 3 games and bring back challenge mode. They're not going to try and do a story element.
No.
But holy crap, this thing exists.
Cool.
And
that's cool. That's good to know.
They're making progress, and it's I'm kind of late to the news party on this one. Apparently, like, the news broke about it back in November and stuff like that. But it's like the fact that Crytek have like said, you know what?
What?
I'm late to the news party. I just like
you just realise that.
No, we got it.
It's a good one.
No, it's good.
That makes sense, surely.
It does make sense.
I'm not complaining about that one. It was just like a funny turn of phrase.
Fuck's sake!
Sorry.
Yeah. So quite the fact that Crytek have said yes, we're not going to stop you from making this.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool.
No, they're cool. They're good guys.
So we expect to see their time frame means we expect to see a demo by the end of the year, like working playable,
but
and that it will be the current promise is that it will be a free release next year. For the lols.
Nice. Well, that's good news.
My worry is that now Crytek's involved in that it won't be free.
I doubt it. I mean, I'm sure that.
And, secondly, it's a fan project that it ever gets completed. So the two classic worries remain.
Yeah, I think it's more likely that,
It'll never get finished. But
it probably won't get finished. It might get released in an unfinished state, which seems to be what happens.
But, someone's doing it, and
it's cool.
I'm happy for it, because hopefully will be awesome. I'm not quite sure how it will play on PC, is the interesting thing, because it's always been a console shooter.
That's true. Well, I guess
the dynamic of the game will change, but
just break out the gamepad, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe gamepad only lobbies. Don't know. Probably work okay because gamepad versus controller.
Yeah,
don't want to go down that debate again. What did I say that time?
You said gamepad versus controller.
Well, it wasn't a weird turn of phrase. It just made it.
Shall I just leave the room and go eat pizza quietly?
I don't want to go that debate again, do you?
Gamepad versus... Well, could you argue that the NES pad is actually a pad and that the modern day controller isn't really a joypad anymore?
Why was it... Why did you call it a pad? Because it was rectangular and flat?
Well, yeah, the old ones were called joypads, aren't they?
Yeah, but it's like, why was that phrase even invented?
Well, why is it a joystick?
Because it's a stick.
Yeah, but why is it a joy?
Because you're playing a game and you're getting joy from it.
That's not why. It's
probably a
translation. The joystick was from joysticks was something else and then put into.
Well, yeah, from like airplanes or whatever, I guess.
But they weren't called joysticks, were they? They were called sticks, a flight stick or control column or.
Well, I don't know, because it would have been helicopters would have been one of the ones with actual
but that's not even called a stick. It's called a cyclone.
Yeah, but it might have been at some other time.
But anyway, key point is, yes, it was called a pad because it was a flat thing as opposed to a pointy stick.
True.
So, now that they're kind of complicated and odd devices with analog sticks on them, can you really call them joypads anymore?
Yeah, I call them controllers.
They're controllers, aren't they? So, as a completely aside, there is a controller versus joypad debate that we've just had.
Yeah.
So fuck it, I've made my error into a news somehow.
I made it into a news.
I feel like controller is so broad that it probably encompasses mouse and keyboards as a control.
And presumably, and joysticks.
And joypads.
No, wait, mouse and keyboards are human interface devices.
So is a joypad.
Yeah.
Human interface device.
I love that. That's a shit term.
It's the connector human interface device.
I suppose so, yeah, by that logic.
Most things are a human interface device by that logic.
Anything in which you
anything in the world that you touch in order to cause something to happen.
Your mum's a human interface device.
She interfaced with another human, and then I was interfaced with her.
You were interfaced.
Yeah.
Right.
I was ejected safely from the USB.
Safely.
Now safe to remove your human.
Safely remove hardware.
Lovely.
Dan's having a human interface with that glass. Getting some drink.
Goodbye. Consume.
More news?
I just saw there's not much news to go on, and I've actually forgotten it already. Fuck.
As is traditional for us.
So, the new Saints Row game isn't called the next exciting entry in the Saints Row franchise, which I was really disappointed about, because that's an amazing title. But it's just called Saints Row 4. Oh. They haven't even given it a subtitle or anything this time, it's just Saints Row 4. But the direction they're taking with that game looks fucking nuts.
Yeah.
It's like you're the president or something.
Nah.
And you've got superpowers. So
you don't really have superpowers.
There's electric coming from his hand.
He's in a computer simulation.
Oh, is it? Oh, I didn't see that bit.
I think it's meant to be like the Matrix or something. You're the president, and then aliens invade, and they want to take over the world. But in order to defeat them, they put you in a computer simulation, and it's like, do it from here or something. I don't freaking know. It's dumb. It's the Matrix. There you go.
They would do that.
Apparently, because that's why you have superpowers. Because basically, that was something that I'm pretty sure several people said about the end of Saints Row 3, where it's like, just give us superpowers. Because they did it in a couple of the expansions where it's like, they gave them ridiculous powers for like the duration of the expansion because it was like sectioned off. It was like, why can we not take these powers into the real world?
Yeah, maybe.
Into the regular game, and now you can.
I don't know, I think that was always the sort of weird charm of Saints Row, that it is completely bonkers, but on some level, moderately plausible.
Yeah, but now they've got around that problem because it's the Matrix.
Yeah, but yeah, it's not quite the same. But anyway, they have an inflator gun, which looks awesome. Like, do you remember from the old Rage Wars days where they had the inflator gun and people just got fun? But it seems to be like bloaty head only, with like googly eyes and everything. Like, not that the eyes would grow under that scenario, but they do because it's awesome. And there's a dubstep gun, which you could fire and make nearby people just dance, making them easy to kill.
But it's like going wub wub.
Presumably, yeah.
Okay. How do they dance to dubstep? That doesn't make any sense.
Sort of grunge around randomly. Yeah, well, you can. Yeah, like depending on the type of dubstep, you can, like if it's one of those like super hardcore rapid synths, then it'd be no different to dancing to some forms of electro, I suppose, or drum and bass. Skank.
As long as what they should do, I was about to say as long as you can, but this is something they should do, is instead of making it a dubstep gun, they should just make it customizable sound effects.
That would be pretty cool. But then maybe they've like tuned the animation so it's in time with the dubstep.
Yeah, but then you could just like have it, maybe not you customise the sound effect, maybe like a selection that they've done where they've customised the speed of the dancing so it's like just have some kind of like yodeling or something.
Yodel gun.
That would be pretty awesome.
I prefer that to a dubstep gun. Yodel gun.
I've seen that they've also added like so you can customise your weapons now as well, so they're not just visually. I mean, what they are visually. You know what I mean? You can visually change them rather than having their own fixed style now.
Right.
The screenshot I've seen of them is someone with a rocket launcher that's basically a guitar case.
It's not really. I don't know. That seems obvious. I wouldn't have said that was like customization as much as just that makes sense to be a ridiculous way of hiding a rocket launcher.
Yeah, but people don't care about any weapon you just happen to be walking around with in Saints Row. It's incredibly rare that someone goes, "Oh my god, they've got a gun!" in the Saints Row games. You're walking around with a rocket launcher just over your shoulder, and people are like, "What's up?"
Don't even notice.
Yeah, or a mysterious wireframe gun that you've taken out of the computer world and are suddenly walking around with it in real life. Everyone's like, "That's fine."
Yeah.
You're playing as the Tron tank. So yeah, Saints Row 4. Also, Thief is a thing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
They're no longer calling it Thief 4 or Thief 4th. It is just, annoyingly, Thief.
Yeah. Fucking hell.
I hate this trend.
You mean the Thief?
No, it's not even. It's not even the Thief. It's just Thief.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, yeah.
Well, they could have done it much worse and called it Thieves.
Thieves
like
versus
aliens.
Predator.
Yeah, exactly.
Thieves Resurrection, or whatever the last one was.
Thieves would be spelled with a V as well, so it would be like different.
Yeah, that'd be the
Thieves.
fifth game, clearly.
Yeah,
Thieves.
Okay, so what's the deal with Thieves?
That'll be the new thing. That's the new thing. Now no longer is it the something. Now everything has to have plurals. SimCities.
Tombs Raider.
Tomb Raiders.
Yeah, that's funny.
I suppose all I really know about Thief 4 at this point is that it's, Thief is a thing,
game of some
and
kind.
it's IDOS are still helming it.
Is it the same people made Deus Ex Human
Probably
Revolution?
a crossover, because the Deus Ex team is supposedly working on new Deus Ex.
Yeah, supposedly.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting.
Although it's not been officially announced, it's rumoured that they're working on new Deus Ex, so it's probably the same. No, bits of they probably.
Yeah.
It's the same studio anyway. It's just probably two different teams.
Ubisoft are always farming stuff around anyway.
Yeah, there will be some farming. Yeah, it's got to be.
At least they only do it kind of internally. It's not like the Colonial Ruins debacle.
It wasn't the one bit of Deus Ex that they did farm out was the bosses.
Yeah, and that was a disaster. Yeah. Apparently they're fixing the bosses for the Wii U release.
Yeah, I read that.
Oh, that's yours.
It's weird.
I was thinking of playing that again. I was thinking about it the other day.
But not the Wii U.
No, the PC. In fact, I'm downloading it now because it was good. It just there's something off about it. I don't know exactly what it was.
Yeah,
but it was cool. I hope they maybe they'll get more into it if they do a sequel or something. I don't know how that would work though. What do you think? Would they use the same?
Oh yeah, because I was like trying to remember what the end of that game was. It's like, oh yeah, the big button of doom.
Yeah, the 3 buttons. Which one do you press?
Dial and ending.
But it was in that crazy ocean, like the
weird facility
that was going to change the environment of the Earth or something.
Yeah, it was like a thermocline or whatever.
So who's working on that cyberpunk game? Who has that?
Oh yeah, I don't know.
Because surely they're in like almost direct.
What competition?
Yeah, sort of. Because they're very similar premises, potentially.
Well, I don't know. It's like, I haven't really seen very much about
really
that
know.
other cyberpunk game.
Exactly.
It's just like, cyberpunk, that can mean quite a lot of things, not just Deus Ex.
I guess we don't really know what the gameplay is based on, like, or what style it's going to take for cyberpunk yet, really. But at the same time, it's like their setting felt very similar.
I think there's probably space in the market for more than one cyberpunk game.
I'm not saying no, but it's like there was something about the feel of that cyberpunk trailer that rang very Deus Ex-y bells in my head. It's not regardless of the fact that cyberpunk is a thing, or that in the case of steampunk, I suppose you could have the same argument that steampunk games are a thing. It's like they you can still have a distinctive feel within that genre.
Absolutely, and it's like zombie games or something.
Yeah, exactly. But then cyberpunk felt Deus Ex-y to me.
I think the only reason it felt Deus Ex-y because there was police in it. I don't. I was like, how much can you even infer from that trailer? It's really
exactly. That you can't. But I'm just putting it out there.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know if they can follow on from Deus. It's going to be like another prequel, going further back.
Yeah, I know, because it was. I don't know. I'm not sure. Anyway, so Thief though. I mean, I never really got into Thief, and some people love it. Like they think it's the best thing ever. Like
it was, it was pretty unique at its time,
exactly,
wasn't it? And it was top of its game.
It's still unique, isn't it? I mean, yeah. What's followed on from Thief? Nothing really.
Dishonored.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sort of.
Well, that's more in the sort of Metal Gear Solid sort of tradition, isn't it? I guess so.
But yeah, anyway, it's a stealth game, so I'm not that fussed. I know I'm probably not going to enjoy it.
Well,
Hitman, maybe.
Yeah, Hitman, maybe. Probably, actually. Especially the
same sort of era,
elaborate sort of setups and sort of situations. That's quite similar, I guess, like Blood Money or whatever. Not the recent one. Absolution.
No, Absolution's the one that got panned.
Yes. Okay, so what's that due? Like, not for a while.
Don't know.
I guess. Okay. Are there screenshots and shit I should look at? Is there a trailer?
I can't say I've seen.
Okay, so that's news.
I just knew that happened.
News.
Snooze.
What the hell is wrong with me? I keep...
You've got some news locked in there.
I've got it. I just keep forgetting what the word is. Okay, so...
It's exuberant.
There's no news other than these 2 words, and I keep remembering what the second one is.
Right, what's the first one then?
Broken. I remember that one.
Oh, right. This game.
Yeah.
And the second one is SimCity?
No.
Oh, Broken Age.
Yeah, there we go. Done. Yes, the Double Fine Adventure has a name. It's called Broken Age.
I don't really tell you anything.
No, but I don't know. There's a little bit of like a blurb, like back of the book style of what.
Probably also
what
doesn't really
like.
tell you anything.
No, but that's the whole point of the blurb on the back of the book, not to tell you anything, isn't it? But to get you sort of intrigued. So yes, but point and click, obviously. But that was what they promised.
Yep.
Right.
It's got to be Monkey Island-ish.
Yeah, so that's the plan. Right. So that's cool.
It's still going.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, it's good to know.
I did have more, but it's gone. Well, I suppose SimCity, there was the news that, SimCity's
a disaster.
It's still a disaster, yeah, so that much hasn't changed.
Riccatello
left EA.
Yeah, he resigned.
Did he?
The CEO of EA resigned.
Not because of SimCity.
Well, yeah.
Just because of everything that EA does.
It was a combination, I'm sure, of SimCity.
I don't know if it was. It was like it was like barely a week after SimCity was out. I don't think that was like...
It depends how much of it was him. If you know what I mean. If he was involved in the SimCity project, then as CEO seems unlikely.
Yeah, but as CEO, you do that, don't you? You take responsibility to the board.
What got rid of... No, what...
So, like, even if
what got rid of him was the Old Republic.
Yeah.
Everyone knew that was what was going to kill him, and it just took a while.
Exactly. Definitely was the Old Republic.
Weird. I suppose they were playing the long game with Old Republic, and it
totally failed.
Yeah.
And I mean, the only
I thought it was going
actually it was probably that. Yeah, that's got to be why he left, because it was basically the end of the financial year, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So once the numbers came through and they were like, "Oh, Republic was shit,"
we've lost so
Get the
much
fuck out.
money.
Yeah, they just got rid of him. Yeah. I'm sure the SimCity stuff didn't help, or isn't helping.
No, but in fairness, they probably made the money that they were going to on SimCity, regardless of its shitness. It's like, it's a PR
Probably.
fiasco, but it's probably made as much money as it... they've made money on it, let's put it that way.
They will, anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And once they fix it, they'll make more money, and they'll make a big deal of SimCity. It's no longer fucked.
I don't know if they will make big deal.
No.
Well, the industry will. The rest of us will. You know what I mean? EA themselves won't, but the rest of us probably will. And it will be like, it's not like they're going to splash an advert on all over Origin saying SimCity, the unfucked edition.
That would be amazing. I would play that. Oh, man. It's going to be a long saga, actually, if they do expansions and make bigger cities and take it offline and shit.
I don't think they can go down the expansion route as it stands. They're going to have to, just fix the fuck up before they can...
I don't know.
Before the expansions make any sense.
Wait for it to die down, and that's what they're going to do, isn't it?
I don't know if Zac can go into his bug discussion later on.
Yeah, later. There's been a lot of good, hilarious videos, I guess you've seen. Of, like the pathfinding and various other
I wouldn't
things.
call them hilarious.
And, well...
Maybe the pedestrian vortex, that one's fair.
Yeah. That was funny.
I love that name.
And there's the guy who managed to hack it to play offline, and you can edit the roads outside the city borders and shit.
Yeah.
So it's obviously possible to do a lot.
Yeah. Or everything that, I guess more Max. Everything they said about the limits of it is just basically
lies.
bollocks.
Yeah, total lies. Yeah, did I tell you? Were we talking about this last time? I don't know. Someone got the JavaScript, all the UI is written in JavaScript.
Oh, yeah, you told me.
Well, I didn't realise. I thought it was like the server interface code or something, which would make sense. But no, the UI, as in the game UI, is like rendered in WebKit effectively over the 3D.
Huh.
So it's like properly written in JavaScript.
Interesting.
Which is bizarre.
It is weird, isn't it?
Yeah, why would you do that? Anyway, I suppose it works. There's that hilarious get fudge population function where you can see how they...
Well, at some point in the simulation they'll have to fudge something. It's just the nature of the thing. When you're,
that's fine.
When you're
that's
scaling...
Fine. That's fine. It was
simulation, just
but
the fact that they called it
judging,
fudge.
But judging by that value, all their fudging is a number that displays to the user. It's not like they fudged something to make the simulation run better by simplification. It's just a display number.
Oh right, I see where you're going with this. So this was so in development terms, like when you're separating your UI from your back end stuff. This was a function that the UI is performing that perhaps the back end wasn't providing.
Yeah, it was like a view model.
Yeah. So the back end
just make it look nice.
Yeah, so the back end doesn't expose a good number, so they put it in they fudged something for the front end and no one noticed.
Yeah,
until now.
Until they did notice.
Until they noticed. Within a week of release.
It's unbelievable. I don't know where the blame lies anymore with this project, because it sounds like both EA and Maxis are fucking up royally. Well, and I feel bad because Maxis is normally a company I feel pretty, up to this point, I would have felt fairly trustworthy about.
Well, apart from Spore.
Trusting about. No, Spore is okay. It's for all its gameplay flaws, it was a quality product. It wasn't exactly...
But it wasn't what they promised.
No.
But it wasn't exactly broken, and it was a fine thing at the end. Let's be honest, what they promised was stupidly ambitious.
Yeah.
It was what's his face? Will Wright turning into Peter Molyneux.
Yeah. It kind of was, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Especially when he got Robin Williams up on stage.
Yeah, it was a bit nuts. The hype train was way too big for that thing, and it got blown out of all proportion. And then at some point, they had this awkward discussion inside and said, "Hey guys, we can't do this yet."
Yeah, but it didn't seem like it's like what they released. It seemed like they still could have done more. It seemed like that was a much further cut down version of their original idea than you even would have expected.
But it's hard to know. Again, maybe Will Wright did want to build the game, and maybe it was technically possible at that time. But this was during The Sims height.
Well, this was when
It's
they
like
got bought by
another-
EA, basically.
Exactly, yeah. I wonder if EA had put their hand in this and said, this needs to be more accessible, this needs to
We
be...
need to release it, soon.
Yeah.
Sooner
we
rather than
can't
later.
keep funding this project, goddammit.
See, I could understand. This has been going on for years. How long ago was Spore? Ages ago, right? So,
A long time, yeah.
What I don't get is that they don't seem to learn that, because it's like, it'd be all very well if all these meddling and stuff actually made them more money, but it loses
It
them
never
money.
does it? EA always tried these experiments. Like Spore had the problem with, regardless of the game. Let's take the game out of the picture here with Spore. Spore had the problem of very restrictive DRM.
Yeah,
And so it had a registration rule of you can only register this game 3 times
that's right.
on free, so you can only ever install it 3 different machines. And they eventually added you can reclaim your registration count. But in order to do that, you have to have the machine on which it was installed and free it up, which is something I never did. So this is my old PC still has Spore installed on it. And at some point I'll have to register that, probably unregister that installation, I guess. And they never took that out. They never just, someone's probably hacked it by now.
Yeah.
But, they never officially just decided to patch that out. And it's like, and it's a big deal. It was an awful, awful decision that, in back in the DRM wars, I suppose. And it's, like Dead Space 3, EA obviously fucked up royally with their terrible, terrible microtransaction model. And FIFA was under a lot of fire because of their stupid player card system. And the
Well,
way
that was
let
a
you-
different problem.
But you know what I mean? That was a big... the FIFA problem was because of, you could essentially trade money in a weird way for
And
it.
hacks.
And, there are hacking opportunities to get control of people's accounts and that kind of stuff. So that was a disaster. And it's like, whatever you do, EA, you do it wrong. So just play it safe, for the love of God. It's like, I hate saying that from EA as well, who are the guys that put a Madden out every year, who put a FIFA out every year. Probably the safest game types you possibly could imagine. But whenever they go off the rails, they make something terrible. And when I say play it safe, maybe we should ring that in a bit. Don't play safe with your game ideas. Play safe with how you monetize them. Because you're bad at it.
But who's good at it?
Not many people. Let's be honest. The simpler the game is, often it works out fine. DLC, as an expansion pack, that's fine. For as much as The Sims milked it, it's a model I can understand. I can't really blame them for the Sims model.
Oh, it works. That's a good model.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean,
and what is wrong with that in other games? Why didn't they go down? And it's probably the route they're going to take with SimCity, or were intending to go down with
I don't know.
SimCity,
There's never going to be as many expansions for SimCity as there are for The Sims, because it just doesn't work that way. For The Sims, all you need to do to make an expansion is add assets. Really,
unless they wanted to merge
kind
The
of.
Sims into
They
SimCity.
did try to do different
Yeah.
things with The Sims, didn't they? Where it's like university
Yeah.
They went in-
nightclubs or
yeah, they-
whatever the fuck.
They changed the nature
Stuff
of the
that
game.
wasn't just things to put in your house.
Yeah, they tried to make you play out individual stories, didn't they? And things at some point, take it out of just the crazy ass, house simulation and random people. So you get attached to people and characters, all talking Simlish somehow.
It would be cool if they could, integrate that with the SimCity and stuff. But I mean,
They already tried that in SimCity 4.
yeah.
It was terrible.
was that terrible? Okay.
Well,
Well,
no,
no, but
it wasn't really terrible. It was more pointless.
Pointless, right?
Yeah, you want to be able to sort of, I don't know. Yeah, it's one of those things. Perhaps if they were going down in an ideal super multi-connected world, perhaps someone somewhere could be playing The Sims, taking control of someone in a city someone else has made and is managing. Perhaps a server somewhere stores a version of the history of this city that someone played out. So including the building upgrades and demolishing and things like that. So it's like, shit, your house has been marked for demolition. You're going to have to move out. Organize your family to do this, bitch. Or, that kind of stuff. That could make a kind of interesting game, it'll be emergent, I suppose, in some ways,
Yes. Well, that's the whole thing with SimCity that people are pissed off about. One of the main things is that how much is persistent and how much isn't. And it turns out that things that you might expect to be persistent really aren't. Like,
Zach, do your bug run. Come on, run it now.
Well, the main obvious thing for me, right, is that maybe I can see where they're coming from. I don't know, but I mean, one dude doesn't live in one house or go to one job.
No.
They go to whatever's the closest empty house or whatever's the closest empty job every day. So it's different every day for that.
Well, no, but you could argue that that's the way that those agents work.
Yeah.
They pick a random sample at the start, so that the work to work, and then when they're coming back, it's not necessarily the same agent going from work to the same place. You know what I mean? It's a random splatter each direction.
Yeah.
Perhaps it would have been simpler, as we were discussing. Zach and I have been discussing this. Like, perhaps it would have been simpler, as you write, like per day that they keep an agent perhaps to track the in and out as one thing. Perhaps.
But they don't, do they?
No.
Because they're seen of basically the same. People are represented the same thing as bits of electricity or bits of poo or whatever.
Yeah.
Basically,
all the same
they're
system.
literally the same. Anyway.
But it's like the main... I think
is that deep, like, philosophical point there? It's like...
everyone's the same as shit.
You can actually see the poo blobs moving, right? Just like the people. It's true.
Yeah.
This is like some kind of Zen teaching. It's like, be as one with the poo.
Well, some people have suggested, and I haven't ever said this, but some people have been saying about this simulation that apparently it's possible in some situations that the literal, like, the number of agents running through a tile might have a limit or might get clogged up. So you could literally theoretically have traffic get jammed up by shit in the pipes because there's too much shit. They can't handle it.
Or electricity.
Yeah, or anything else. I haven't seen any evidence of that myself, but
that'd be so cool.
So, did we hint on your student problem last time?
Mate,
last time on the cast.
I think you said that like your school was empty because everyone had moved to higher education.
Well, it was the city that I had where students were mysteriously disappearing, and I thought it was because they were getting taken to another person's city in the region, and then it was fucking up somehow.
Yeah.
But so what I discovered last night when I had some inspirational moment when I was rereading the bug thread that I posted in, I realised that I could actually test it really easily. So I went and actually did a proper test where it's just basically just build a city with like a grade school and a grade school that doesn't have enough capacity, and then you go out to the region and you build another city that just has a high school, which is the one that can send the buses to other cities so it can get extra students. So I did that, and then when you run it, you find out that basically that the bug is exactly what I thought it is. When the high school buses pick up students in your city and take them away, it doesn't bring back the same number of students. So you just end up with less and less students over time, and then your city becomes uneducated because there's no students going to school to get educated.
Because they all fuck off to the other town.
Yeah, because gradually they get like deleted somehow.
So I theorised that maybe this is its way of trying to track like a population shift of people who want to learn moving nearer the school.
But that's not how the game works.
No. That's a bug.
Yeah.
Among many.
Well, the trouble is that
it could have been a result of someone trying to simulate my scenario and they got it wrong.
Yeah, but I don't think they were trying to simulate that scenario. I don't think there's actually the idea of... Well, it's like when a house goes abandoned... Well, apparently you can get homeless people now, but that's a different thing. It's not like that number of people get added to the residential demand apart from in the vague way that they do, where it's like, oh, there's one less residential building, so residential demand goes up.
But it's not literally a person looking for a house.
No.
It's a percentage.
Yeah, it's just a vague... But yeah, so...
It seems like they could... I mean, obviously they chuck this out as too hard to do, but I mean, if you could solve all these problems that are stroke by having persistent people. Right?
Yeah, by just having and keeping better track of them. Because this is the thing with this education bug, because once I found out that I could easily replicate it, where it's like they go away and they don't come back, and it's clearly something to do with the region, like it's not tracking them properly when they go to the other city, but because it's asynchronous, they don't really go to the other city, it's just assumed that some number of people go there, and it's obviously not. It's just like, it would be really easy, because it's just like, how does it not, it's just like, it should just, here's a number of people who left your city, let's send the same number of people back.
Yeah.
Why is that difficult? But then once I realised that bug was happening, it made me think that probably that bug is attributed to a lot of the other problems with the game, like I saw buildings where they never spawned any shoppers, so they were saying, "Where's all the shopping? I need to go to the shops and buy things." And it's like, well, I'm looking at the commercial overlay, and there's never any shoppers coming out of this building, so you can't go shopping. And then I realised that was probably because in the other city I was playing in that region, I had buses, and the buses were picking up the shoppers and taking them to the other city, and then never bring them back. So it's basically this one bug potentially is breaking like all the different systems, because the same thing could happen for workers, and then you'd run out of workers, and then everyone would be unemployed and have no money, which happens sometimes in random buildings. And it's like everything comes down to this one bug. So when I get home, I need to make a really long forum post.
Do you think some of it has come from the fact that, because you can dive into an individual house and see this house has a student or not, that perhaps maybe that was a step too far? Had they just had...
What, if they didn't show you it, then you wouldn't know.
Well, do you know what I mean? If this area, this part of town, say, has a higher density of students or not, and then they use the agent to simulate, obviously, the movements and how well they got to...
Well, it's because
got to school and stuff, but then they're not actually really tracking the individual house moving, so they don't really have to worry too much about the numbers in and out at that stage.
Well, it's because then they're trying to track all these agents, but they're not doing it well enough. They're getting lost somewhere. There's some kind of... This giant bug is actually losing... The numbers aren't correcting. And the weird thing is, because I did...
The weird thing that it doesn't auto-correct itself.
Well, yeah, but...
You can possibly understand that perhaps it would make a mistake.
And not track all of them.
And not track all of them, yeah.
Or just to balance it out. Right?
Or, they've forgotten a variable somewhere along the line, so they didn't put the number right that came back. But that's fine. But, then it's the fact that it then doesn't go away and have some kind of perhaps auto-correct that goes, oh, yeah, these houses had students in them, didn't they? What happened to them? I don't know. Well, let's give them a student.
Well, that's the trouble, because... It's because every house is guaranteed to have, 2 workers and 2 students and 2 miscellaneous other dudes that don't really factor into the simulation. It's like, it should know that when this house doesn't have any students, that's obviously wrong. So it should be able to correct it. And I've also proved in a different test that it actually already does have that system built in elsewhere. Like, if you let a load of students go to school and then demolish the school while they're in it, they disappear, but then after a few seconds, the bars at the houses just start going up again. Like the students magically reappear back at their house.
Right.
So it's like, it can do that. It's just for some reason this regional system where it's trading between cities is causing it to bug out and not work properly.
I wonder if there's a... You said, does that happen as well when you demolish a house with a student in it? Does it remove that student somewhere nearby, or is it just... I'm just trying to work out if there's an easy trigger mechanism you can use to work around this problem.
To fix the bug in play.
Because if this repopulation must be in the code then by the sound of it. It's just it's not triggered at the right moment. So,
but I think the problem...
perhaps they weren't expecting this problem to be there, so it doesn't re-trigger automatically.
I think the problem with the regional one is because when you're demolishing a building, it's an event that happens at a specific time. Whereas with commuting, that's more vague. Like, for example, when even within your city, if you're looking at the students coming out of the school and going home, because it uses the dumb agent system, all the students trying to pile into the first house, and then that house gets full of its 2 students, so they all go next door and try and get to that one, and that gets full of 2 students, and then you get this big train of students just walking to every house on the block trying to go in it. So that's obviously a problem. But because of that system, it's sort of undefined at what point every student should be home.
Right.
It's like they could all get home by 5, or they could all get home by 9. You don't really know.
That's kind of fine.
Well, it's fine, except then you have to think of when it's going to trigger the, oh shit, this house doesn't have any students mechanism. I mean, logically,
midnight.
I'd say...
Call it midnight.
Well, midnight, yeah, but logically I'd say trigger it when there's no more students in the streets.
Yeah, maybe.
That would probably be the obvious test case.
Unless you get a student who's doing U-turns.
Yeah, I guess. So yeah, I've got to write a really long and detailed forum. I made documenting the pictures of here's the bars, and then this is what it looks like now, and this is what it looks like. So I'm going to make a ludicrously long forum post, and then no one will care. So good times.
We should have Minecraft has a public Jira bug tracker. Everyone
should have one of those, goddammit. It's like Dwarf Fortress and Minecraft, and I put bugs in these things.
Stephen actually updates. He put a bug in and it got fixed.
The problem with those is especially when you're dealing with the scale, I guess, of something like Minecraft or SimCity, is that the duplicate bug problem is...
Yeah, you need lots of people to manage
so many
it.
of them. Yeah, you need a pretty reasonable team, or community moderators, people that are willing to give up their time to sort this out.
Bet there'd be a few of those, though.
But then it's like, even then, it's like, depending on the number of actual individual bugs, you need someone who probably has an intrinsic knowledge of the system to sort of say, okay, yeah, that's a bug, that's the same bug as that one.
Yeah.
You need to know the bugs to make that choice, really. It's a hard thing to manage.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we fail, to be honest with you, that happens to our small team occasionally every now and then. It's like, oh, this is the same bug as this one. Oh, well, we'll keep them both alive, we'll just link them in target process or whatever.
You can mark as duplicate, though, in target process. Or in Jira or whatever.
Don't, but
You're using the figures design.
We're using it as simply as we possibly can.
Or in GitHub, I think it has. Does GitHub have issue tracking? I think it does.
I think it does, yes.
Yeah.
I think the other trouble is that, in SimCity's case, this is the actual problem of the bug tracking, is there's no, it's like even the place where you go to track bugs is the miscellaneous items for.
Oh, genius.
That's not really, there's graphical issues, there's crashes, and then it's just actual game bugs going MISC, because that's really specific and helpful.
Yeah, perhaps they should have, well, I don't know, how else would you narrow down a bug like that, I guess, because it's this is mechanical.
It should be gameplay, things that are actually programming.
But then what would be a MISC?
MISC shouldn't exist. That's the whole reason. That's why it's called miscellaneous, because we're too lazy to make more precise forum labels.
I suppose it could, networking could fall in there as well.
Or you make a forum called networking.
Yeah.
You don't need MISC to catch things if you have enough options.
Maybe.
That's why MISC exists.
I'm okay with the idea of MISC. There's always something you can't predict.
No, yeah, well, it can exist, but then there should be the more obvious things that are obvious need their own forum. But it's does people even... what I'm going to do is I'm going to write this forum post.
Does people even?
Does people even?
It's not just me.
I didn't finish the sentence, so it doesn't count.
No.
I might have been about to correct myself for all you know.
Yeah, it's true.
But you were.
What I'm going to do is write this long forum post, maybe on the... Well, I'm going to go to the miscellaneous forums and try and write it there, but I hear that forum actually has a really strict, character cap, so I might not actually be able to fit it. So what I'll do is I'll write as much of a bug report there as I can. I'll maybe copy it out onto, Giant Bomb and use their forum, because then I can do fancy formatting and shit, make it look better, and put a link there. And then maybe I'll, in the post, just put an appeal that says, somebody send this to the developers' Twitters, because I don't have Twitter and I don't give a shit.
You should literally post it on the Reddit, on the subreddit.
Yeah, maybe.
It might get upvoted by loads, and then they might pay attention.
Yeah, I guess. That is probably the one.
There'll be an SimCity.
Yeah, there is. I've seen several posts from it, and I think there have been Maxis people on there before.
Yeah. Well, they did an AMA, didn't they, before the gate came out, which was totally derailed.
Yeah. Classic.
And that's the thing was, they went on and on about the online DRM obviously going to be terrible, and then it was!
Yeah.
It's fair warning, dudes.
Save that thread for percent.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway.
So yeah, I guess that's more or less all I've got to say about SimCity, because I didn't really play it that much this week. I played it somewhat more last week, but then I sort of, as I discovered all these problems, the more of them I find, I'm I can't not see them.
Is it still fun?
It's still fun when it works, yeah. It's fine.
But just wait for it to be good. Sounds like
Or only play one city and don't ever have anyone else in the region. That's probably my safest bet at the moment. Because I think once I discovered that this region bug is potentially the thing that's cocking me up every time, I was just if I don't have anyone else in the region and no other cities, this city might just work. I haven't actually tested that yet, which I still need to do.
Okay.
Because if it turns out to be the case where I'm just looking at, this building doesn't have any students or this building doesn't have any workers, then there's obviously another bug somewhere as well. If this city, which is isolated by itself, works just fine, then that'll be the temporary solution, I guess.
To play these tiny cities.
To play a tiny city that can't trade with the outside world.
Great. Brilliant.
So yeah, that's why I haven't played it much. They have been patching it, and they've done they've done another hilarious U-turn of themselves, not just the cars. That was a pun. Not really a pun. That was a joke.
Okay.
They made another hilarious U-turn in that they've put in emergency vehicle priority now, even after they said that it was too hard.
They just changed a couple of lines.
Yep, they just fixed it so it works.
It's their marketing people are useless. Like,
Seems
they
like
need
it,
to be
yeah.
fired. That woman. The
She's not marketing though. She's like almost head of the company.
Is she? Oh shit. Okay.
I should like head of image or something.
I'm fairly sure she's not just PR. I think maybe she's multi-spec or something.
Yeah. She's not.
But she's not. She hasn't been a good spokesperson.
No.
Even, so if she isn't PR, maybe get a PR person instead.
Yeah, exactly. Someone who can do PR.
Sounds like you need some damage limitation here anyway that they're not doing.
No. It's actually been pretty silent for the last couple of weeks after the big flurry at launch.
It's awful. Really.
There's been a couple of patches, but they don't even have very good patch notes either. So
it's interesting. Rock paper shotgun are really going after.
Yeah,
which is great.
Which is good.
Yeah,
have someone do it.
Yeah.
No cheater change. Yeah. Cheater speed as well. So that hasn't changed.
Still no cheater speed.
No, they haven't actually fixed they haven't even put it back to as launch yet.
So we have fake cheater speed still.
Yeah.
You can click
so someone was asking on a forum was like, "Is it safe to buy this yet?" And the general response was maybe once they put it back to at least what it should have been at launch. Once cheater speed is in, that'll be maybe it's safe to go in because then it'll be at least working to what they thought it would have been.
Is there going to come a point where people just don't bother anymore? Like,
don't bother with what?
As in, like, you just sort of stop trying to play it.
Well, I've stopped trying to play it, but that's because I know what bugs I'm waiting. It's like Dwarf Fortress. I know what bugs there are that I'm waiting to be fixed, and then when I see them get fixed, maybe I'll go back in.
Yeah, but then I wonder if like.
But people who don't know, people who aren't digging into it, maybe.
Yeah, but I wonder if like there will come. Yeah, as I say, that they may become this like point where the population starts dropping off so bad that EA like, well, fine, we've got the money, we can get out of this, we can start turning off servers, fine, we'll make another fucking game.
Well, yeah, that is the general problem with game development. I guess it's like the classic, like, pre-purchasing betas problem.
I'm beginning to really hate the pre-order model. Like,
you see that Steam thing where you can now buy and play games that are still in development or something?
Well, at least they've labelled it now.
Yeah.
At least it's not like in the beta category like it used to be.
Yeah.
It's like, that's not what that means.
Yeah, because
Kerbal Space Programs on there, yeah.
Cool.
Which is actually sweet. Because their patch was shit, so...
Oh, really?
At least through Steam it will work.
So I can get Kerbal through Steam now?
Yeah.
It's like 16 quid or something.
I'm totally getting that. Probably.
There was an update to that. I had played this slightly this week, but there was an update to that, which... It's only visual effects so far, but they've made it so that when you go through re-entry, you get cool flames coming off your ship and shit.
Cool.
Doesn't actually have any like heat effect yet, but at least it looks cool.
But yeah, they went to the effort, didn't they, of like putting them off the correct parts of the ship that could be like.
Well, sort of.
You know,
or at least
like
it looks like that.
Yeah, the spiky bits are what seem to.
It's like the edges create like the curve of the fire seems to come off the edges of the ship.
Yeah.
In a way that looks sort of realistic.
Cool.
Yeah. Even if it's not necessarily doing anything gameplay wise or aerodynamically, it looks cool.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Do you need heat shields in that thing?
No.
Okay.
Not yet.
All right. Okay.
Technically, parts do have a heat tolerance, but that's more to do with like flying too close to the sun, or
right. Okay.
No, it doesn't really come into play usually.
Okay.
So I guess we're on games. What else have you been playing?
I played all kinds of little things mainly this week. I don't know. It was a weird week again. Where I didn't seem to play anything. I played some Flatout 2, sort of briefly. There was a big update to that. They put in VR training, so you can go in and use all of the guns and vehicle unlocks and everything without having to unlock them, which is actually really nice.
A good try.
Now you can find out what they're like before.
Yeah, a good try before you buy
paying the cash,
which they probably needed straight away. I had that rental idea.
Yeah, it had like the 30-minute rental, which was okay.
But the problem is it can take you 30 minutes in that game before you get into a fight where the weapon might be useful.
Yeah, you have to plan that one ahead.
Yeah,
quite specifically.
Like be in that scenario already.
Yeah, so I messed around in there and had a look at various weird weapons. They put in also in that patch they added like new rocket launchers for every team, and the one on the team that I was playing, the Vanu team, is shit. Which is really disappointing. It sounds cool. It's like it basically has it has a charge-up mechanism where it basically fires 3 rockets at once if you charge it up and they do more damage. But it does so little damage! It's like almost not even worth charging. You might as well just hit the singular rocket so you can just get it off quick. I mean, they travel fast. I think that's the balance. I think it's like they travel fast and you can charge it up, but they don't do much damage.
Mm-hmm.
But to be honest, if you're using a rocket launcher on foot in that game, you want to be able to do as much damage as you can in the first shot, because chances are after you've hit, you're going to die.
Yeah,
because the tank will just turn around and shoot you in the face.
What we really need is that weird sort of like anti-tank rifle thing from Battlefield.
Yeah, that was
2013.
why everyone used that, because it was the stealth rocket launcher, basically. Didn't have to guide the shot or anything, you just used the projectile speed to get it in there. So yeah. And then the other I can't remember what the other races are, other rocket launchers are. I think there's one of them is wire guided, so you can fly with a camera and everything, which is, I don't know, why would you even need that?
I suppose you could like hide behind a building, fire it straight up, and then
yeah, I guess
javelin style.
Yeah, and then I think the other one is just like rapid fire or something. It has like a 5 rocket clip, which is, I don't know, whatever.
It could be really useful if you're right next to it.
Yeah, but it's like using rocket launchers on foot in that game just seems like a bad idea. Like I said, you're just going to die.
You're pretty useless as a bloke against vehicles.
Because they have so much armour, they just take so many shots. Even tank versus tank is pretty, like, grinding. It's like, even the light tanks, they still can take 2 or 3 direct shots.
Yeah, like
of a main tank cannon.
I was about to say, if a heavy hit's a light, then you're not so great. But...
Well, that's like 2 or 3, if you're lucky, depending on where it hits you, because there is directional armour. So, yeah.
We might need to try PlanetSide now that I've got a new graphics card.
Yeah, Rob wants to use it as a stress test.
Yeah. Oh, you've got to talk about this.
So, PlanetSide is a fairly good, because it put my last card under some
because it's not very well optimised.
It's not very well optimised, but to be fair, there's a shit ton of stuff going on during the bigger fights.
Yeah, and it does look pretty good.
Yeah,
really,
and it's not a bad looking game, but it's just like my old card just wasn't up to it at all, really.
Yeah.
It's kind of awkward. So I plunked down the cash for an NVIDIA 670.
Woo!
Seems pretty sweet. So I guess this leads on to what I've been playing this week, because I've been sort of benchmarking sort of several things.
Fun times, I like that.
Trying to figure out what works well and what doesn't. So
what even has proper benchmarks anymore? The last thing that did that was like World in Conflict. That was a pretty sweet benchmark.
Nice. I haven't tried that actually. I've still got it installed on that system.
Oh, with the nukes, with the DirectX 11 particle.
Where it did all the carpet bombing for particles, and then the nuke, and then the big explosion.
It had all the Z dithering stuff that it was doing, and the light ray tests, and the geo modding.
Yeah,
stuff.
the deformable terrain.
Yeah. That game's fucking awesome.
It's still awesome. It still looks great as well. It's a brilliant game. But anyway, so I should try that.
What's going on with that CNC Generals game they announced?
Oh, yeah. We haven't heard anything. It's supposed to be out this year, isn't it?
Still got plenty of time.
Yeah.
For this year.
I guess. Well, given that, Saints Row 4, like, all the stuff's coming out, and that's supposed to be out in August. So,
yeah. Well, I guess Saints Row 4 is less of a... Because CNC there, you'd think that would be pretty much building an entirely new game, whereas Saints Row it's probably like...
Yeah, they can probably just build on...
pretty much the same engine, probably.
Yeah, they're probably just building on the 3rd. So I did try Saints Row the 3rd on my new card, because that had... It was a bit framey on my old machine. Not terrible, but, when you're out driving around the city and stuff, it could get a little bit chuggy.
Yeah.
No longer a problem.
Cool.
Works perfectly. I even got into a massive fight and was getting like as many cars as I could to explode at one time and didn't break a sweat. Brilliant. Score 1 for that. With everything turned up. Battlefield runs like a dream.
Until it blue screen.
Until it locked my entire PC out. It doesn't mean just because
that's nothing to do with your graphics.
No, just because it runs like a beauty doesn't mean Battlefield is any more stable these days.
Right. I've never had it do that to me. It's still something else on your machine somewhere.
Yeah. My system seems to retract these problems. But yeah, I can turn it up to max, and it still run near enough 60 frames a second, which is lovely. It does mean that the HDR in that game always was pretty extreme, but now it seems more extreme now I've turned everything up. So seeing people in buildings on, let's say, like Sen Crossing, like when you're in the outside looking into a building, you can't see anything. It's fucking hard. I was contemplating breaking out the IR scopes at one point, going, I can't see anything.
Flashlights, maybe.
When you're outside the building looking in, it doesn't really have much effect.
Well, I don't know, or does it? Because it depends how realistically they've actually modelled the flashlight. It's the classic Left 4 Dead problem.
Oh, yeah, I guess. Yeah, so that ran really well. I should try. Flatout was an interesting one. So I've been playing quite a lot of Flatout this week.
For some reason.
Well, because I got to the point of like, I'm sick of this being on my machine. I kind of want
the best reason to finish a game.
Well, I kind of wanted to finish it because it's been there for ages, and it's like I've been plodding away at it every now and then as a thing because it's kind of Flatout has some cool things. Like, I still like its physics model. It's pretty, the amount of objects it can throw around the screen at one time is pretty nice. It's not its fidelity isn't exactly up there in terms of graphics. When its presentation is lackluster in places, like the ending of a race is kind of an anticlimax. You just cross the line, and this shitty finish word scrolls off the bottom of the screen and just sits in the middle of the screen for a while, and then the leaderboard just appears. There's no fanfare or anything. It's like, so yeah, it has some presentation issues, but as a game, it's fine. It's kind of throwaway. But yeah, Flatout was an interesting one because it runs. It always did run pretty good on my old system at 1080 thing, but now on the new card, obviously it runs better at 1080. The weird thing was, I thought, well, this surely isn't that much of a strain on my system. It's not using too much of my CPU. It's not really maxing out my card. Like the usage graph on my graphics card is saying, yeah, I'm hovering at about 60%. So it's like, I could probably put 3D on for this, can't I? So I turn 3D on, frame rate bombs, just drops to about 15 to 20 frames per second, which is exactly the same as it was on my old system. So there's some bottleneck in Flatout's engine that just means it can't do 3D, which is a shame. So, yeah. So I've played about, I've probably played about 6 to 8 hours of that this week. And it's like just, I've now done everything I can be asked to do in that game, so it's been deleted from my system, no more of that.
Good.
Get my achievements. Because it's no games. That's part of the draw, because it's games for Windows Live. There's achievements, it's like I have to get it above like at least half the points before I put it down. So yeah, did that. That's what I tried. Some stuff. We played Guild Wars. That was the other interesting one. It's like I can now ramp all the settings up to max on that.
Yeah.
Which makes it look very pretty.
Yeah.
But I haven't really gained much in the way of frames, if you know what I mean. I think there are other limiting factors that cause me to lose frame rate in that game. Like walking around Lion's Arch still seems to, even when I turn the options back down to what they were, walking around Lion's Arch still seems to chug somewhat. I think it might, I don't know if it's network activity or CPU having to load a million different costumes of the people nearby, or I don't know. There's some other bottleneck there that means Guild Wars
obviously,
but at least it looks pretty now.
Obviously, we'll have to go back into World vs. World sometime.
Yeah.
Because that was the bit where your system really died.
Yeah.
For a combination of a lot of people and those weather effects that for some reason fucked you up real good.
Yeah, it just didn't handle that at all. I was running at like sub-pixel rendering at one point to try and get that to run. Like, not sub-pixel, was it? I forget which way around it is. It was sub-sampling, that's it. So it was like rendering less pixels than the resolution I was running at to try and get some more speed out.
And apparently there was a new news post on Guild Wars about this, but apparently in World vs. World they had a thing called culling where it didn't actually render all the people that were there. And the start of this news post started with, "I'm sure you've noticed," and I was like, actually I haven't. I never realised that there was probably like a whole ton of invisible people there that I weren't seeing.
I just always made the assumption that there was so much going on that it was it was my bad, I didn't see that happen.
But yeah, so apparently they're getting rid of that now, so it'll be even more of a test of problems we need.
Yeah, so we'll see how it's going. But yeah, the 6, from the positive results, it's it's obvious that the 670 is a hell of a card. It's not like the most expensive one you can get out there, because it's like another £100 to jump to a 680, which doesn't make financial sense.
You clearly need a Titan for like £1,000.
Yeah, 800 and something pounds they are.
Yeah,
for like your basic Titan card.
Actually, one isn't really enough. You need like 3 of those.
Yeah. I love the marketing images where they do just show 3 Titans in triple SLI, and they're just like, "Hey, look, you want one of these, don't you? Don't you?"
It's hilarious.
Because I'm going to spend £2,700 on graphics power alone. Bleh. So yeah, I'm having fun with that. Just going to be trialing things. The best test I've done so far, and I've left this one deliberately to last, is Dirt 3. Because that always did run really well.
It runs great on anything.
But it was running under DX9, DX10 stuff,
Right.
so I didn't get all the cool DX11 like tessellation and all the other fancy stuff that it can do. So now I'm running in DX11. Guess what? Still runs like stink. But now, due to a weird quirk in their engine design, the DX9 and DX10 versions didn't support 3D. It would just always display on a flat plane. So DX11, not a problem.
Okay.
And it looks beautiful. It's really good.
Okay.
So I had a quick,
insane.
so I had a quick blast on a controller. I didn't get the wheel out and everything, but yeah, playing that in 3D is nice. So yeah, I'll probably do that at some point. Get the wheel out, get the full rig set up. So there's me with a giant steering wheel, nice chair set up, 3D glasses. I will be fully rigged up, and I'm going to play some more Dirt 3.
Awesome.
If only you had dad's screens, and then you could multi-screen it.
Yeah. Well, I could have two, but it doesn't.
Yeah, it doesn't really work when you've got a line down the middle.
I think you need an SLI setup to do 111 anyway.
Yeah. It might be a bit strange with the combined with 3D if you had 3 monitors. I don't know,
because NVIDIA supports that.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I suppose if they're lined up correctly towards your face,
and they're all in sync, that might be the trickier part. You might need need 3 monitors of the same brand to make sure they all time.
Yeah,
correctly.
probably. I'm just saying, assuming money is no object or whatever.
Yeah,
so you can get what you want. Then. Yeah.
So yeah, Dirt 3 looks.
Are they making another? Well, Grid 2's coming out soon, isn't it?
Yes, Grid 2 is out fairly shortly, actually, I believe.
Which is exciting, actually.
Yeah, because I really enjoyed the first one.
Yeah, that could be really, really cool.
There'd be a nice change of pace, because we've had 2 Dirt games since the original Grid.
Yeah.
And
but I haven't heard anything about. Obviously, they made that.
3 Dirt games if you count Showdown.
Yeah, that's that Showdown thing, which I'm not interested in. The Destruction Derby game.
Well, not even though, because if it was a Destruction Derby game, then I'd be totally interested.
Yeah.
Bring back Destruction Derby.
Well, it does have Destruction Derby, doesn't it?
Yeah, but just bad.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So Flatout Derby mode was kind of good.
Yeah.
As a side.
Sort of.
But, yeah, Dirt 4 must be somewhere in the pipeline.
Presumably, what else are Codemasters working on? The sequel to F1 Race Stars, I guess.
Well, they make...
Or another F1 game.
They make all those F1 games. There'll be another one this year. But Dirt 4, I mean, I think Zac tends to like every other one of that series. Or
maybe.
So,
the even sequels are the best, as Startopia used to say.
Yeah.
And they never had one.
Yeah, because you liked Colin McRae too, didn't you?
And 4.
Colin McRae 2 and 4 were great.
Yeah.
Although that's... Oh, your phone's ringing.
No!
Stylish edit time. Or am I going to leave this in?
No.
I guess we can carry on talking. What was I saying?
Hang on, no, we'll be better wait because we'll hear it down in the background.
It's good. What? Don't turn it off.
I was going to pause it.
You can just cut it out.
Alright. I thought maybe I could get a clear break in.
No. Can't. Cut this out.
Am I going to have to cut this and make it a proper outtake?
Have to cut. It's not that much effort. You're just cutting it and then saving it as a new file.
Exactly. But it's like an actual outtake. It would just be like, that's phone.
Only one person rings that phone.
What we're talking about, even sequels, right? When Dan sits down, carry on talking as normal, like nothing happens.
Yeah. We'll edit.
Go.
I didn't really play Colin McRae 3 or 5, so...
Yeah.
No, I didn't play 3. 3 was the one where they introduced all the, crazy car part physics.
Yeah,
where the bits of your car had physics.
Yeah. So yeah, I can't really say that I only like the evil ones because I didn't really play the odd ones.
Wait, was there a 5?
Yeah.
Huh, I don't remember that one.
It was bad. Or was it 3 that I remember? I'm fairly sure that was 5.
3 was kind of criticised, I think, because it was low on content. It's like they'd updated their physics model and things like that, but there wasn't actually really much there.
I just remember that it was like I didn't like how it felt. I'm pretty sure it was 5. I didn't like how it felt compared to 4, so I was like, I don't want.
4 was a great feeling.
Like it.
4 was a great feeling game, but the weird thing about them, when you go back and play those after playing Dirt, you realise that those games are a lot slower than Dirt. Like Dirt has a ridiculous sense of speed.
Well, you say a lot slower. Maybe it's just a matter of environment detail makes it actually look faster.
Maybe. Yeah. But I always liked the engine noises on the old Colin McRae because they had that. The rally cars at that time had that kind of the engine normal rev noise, but they had that like whine that was related to your actual speed. Something to do with the turbos that they used to use at the time. But I always used to like that because it sounded really nice.
Yeah. That did sound kind of cool. I always like the original Colin McRae.
I don't think I ever really played that one enough to make a decision about it. You know what I mean? I jumped in at 2, really.
Yeah. Yeah, but without all that detail, the tracks were like a lot. Well, they say track stages were just a lot longer.
A simpler race, or
yeah.
Well, all I remember about the original Colin McRae was the dumb stages. The one in the clouds, which was just like a ridiculous hill climb that it was released full of.
Oh yeah,
and there was the quarry as well, wasn't there?
Yeah, the quarry.
Yeah.
The hairpin.
That's all I ever remember. The retarded stages.
See, I kind of, it's a bit of a shame that they moved away from that in a way. It's like there've been nice bonuses to have had in all the others, but they didn't really appear, did they, in any of the other Colin McRae games?
No. Yeah. The first game kind of relied heavily on that Pikes Peak stuff, the US tracks.
Yeah, although, Dirt 1 has a bit of a fond place for me because it was actually still sticking somewhat to the Colin McRae formula.
It felt quite strange, Dirt, but I really liked it, but it felt quite weird handling-wise. Like,
yeah. And of course it was next-gen filtered.
Yeah.
Everything was
super brown.
And bloomy.
Yeah, super bloomy. And the cars definitely pivoted around their centre.
They still do.
I know.
The physics model for that hasn't changed much.
No. Maybe they'll do something. Who knows? Do you see the F1 today?
No, I've not watched anything about it.
There's some hilarious highlights of that. Do you want to know what was going on?
Go on.
They got all fucked up in qualification, didn't they? That was the first thing.
Right. They get fucked up. Why? Because it was raining.
Yeah, because it was raining real bad.
Well, the main thing that happened at the end was the 2 Red Bull guys. So it was Vettel and
where are they?
Webber.
Australia, isn't it?
Malaysia, wasn't it? I don't think it was Australia.
One of those ones.
Yeah, they were basically fighting for first at the end, even though the team obviously were like, well,
don't fight.
Don't fight, you idiots. If you crash, we're all screwed.
Yeah.
But Vettel was like, fuck you, I'm going to
crash.
Yeah, but they managed not to crash, but he did manage to beat his teammate, take his teammate. They were like wheel to wheel for quite a long time. It was quite impressive, like corner after corner, they were right next to each other.
Jeez.
It was pretty cool and unnecessary and dumb.
It's kind of weird, I suppose, when they're like on the same team, I guess, in a track, because the cars would be so closely matched.
Yeah, they're the same car. So, except they were on slightly different tyres for reasons probably to do with the wet and stuff.
Yeah.
I think they kept changing tyres, all the teams. Oh, and the funniest bit was Lewis Hamilton. He went into the wrong pit garage because he went into his old team's garage.
Oh,
and he was like, "Fuck."
Oh, that's unfortunate.
He went into the McLaren, but I think he managed to recover from it. But I think, yeah.
That's an easy mistake because he's only ever raced F1 from McLaren before.
Exactly. So he drove his Mercedes into their pit.
I suppose that is confusing because it was a McLaren Mercedes technically, wasn't it? The last one. So now he's just Mercedes.
Yeah. Shit. Anyway, that's kind of hilarious.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah, that was funny.
So I should carry on with what I've been playing.
Yep.
Right. Yeah. My brother recently, Kippers, I suppose, as he's known, DJ Clipping, blah blah blah. He's been on the show before.
Yeah.
He bought a PS3 because his Blu-ray player broke.
Right.
So he thought, I might as well get a PS3 then, if I'm rather than buy like a standalone Blu-ray player again. Now that they're not too badly priced, I suppose. So he's got a Super Slim, and I still stand by my original points that I don't really like the Super Slim. I think that tray loader is really cheap.
Slim's probably the best model, right?
Yeah, the previous one is, for the quiet to size ratio, the last one was totally different. I still like the look of the first one, to be honest. The George Foreman. It's massive, but it's just way too noisy. If it wasn't for the noise, I wouldn't care so much. I
just don't like that stupid Spider-Man font. I mean, the actual design of the thing is cool. Yeah, if it wasn't noisy.
Yeah, the noise of the old one is the problem. Like the original Xbox, I suppose. Before they slimmed that one.
The original Xbox? Did they slim the original Xbox?
I meant...
Oh, the
original 360 iteration. Right, yeah, before they slimmed it, it's like still quite a noisy bastard. The drive, especially. So yeah, he went down the route of buying a 90-day PS Plus account for £7. and has downloaded a shit ton of stuff off Instant Library. Like, further sort of, like, pushing my thoughts of, holy crap, the next generation subscription things are going to have to be... Microsoft's going to have to do something competitive now.
Yeah.
Because it's like, because you got tons of neat stuff. You got Joe Danger 2, which is supposed to be a good game. Like, it's a sort of arcadey, sort of, bit like Trials-esque, but, cartoony fashion. Little Big Planet 2, good choice. Pretty much always on Instant Library, so you can get that anytime. Infamous 2.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, another good game.
Cool.
Dead or Alive 5, which, yeah, you know what, it's a pretty new release.
Yeah. Okay.
And it's on PS Plus already, so,
Nice.
it's not a bad steal, really. And F1 Race Stars.
Okay.
So, for £7, you get all that off the bat.
That's pretty amazing, actually.
It's great.
Yeah.
That's,
So how does that work, then? What, can he not play them after the 90 days? Right?
No, well, I mean, yes. You have the ability to download it as long as you're within that time period.
And you can just
once it's on your console, it's yours.
Oh,
the restriction comes in that if you then delete it and you don't have PS Plus and it's not in Instant Library at that time, you can't re-download. It's like that's the restriction of it.
That's pretty cool.
You're not really owning the game, I guess. You're owning it.
Man, it's going to be so... I really want to know what Microsoft have planned for Xbox Live, because that is the whole deal.
Because, the next gen. I love the Xbox Live service, and at the moment it is still leagues? That's not the word, is it? It's still streaks ahead of...
Leagues works.
Does it leagues ahead?
Leaps and bounds, do you want?
Yeah, maybe. Still,
leagues or leagues, I think those both work.
It could be streets ahead, or it could be streets ahead. Either way.
Yeah, okay.
All these things.
Okay.
Those are probably all fine.
It is a long way in front of the PlayStation service in terms of just how it works, how much usability you can get out of it. It's a much better service. But PS Plus is just ruining... Xbox Live has no value, if you know what I mean. As in, everything it does, you expect for free now.
Right. And
you probably always have done, in fairness, but now with PS Plus saying, well, okay, we're going to do a subscription too, but you're going to get all this stuff. It's like suddenly the Microsoft offering seems like you're paying for nothing.
But can they really continue that? It's like, I think, like, the reason PS Plus works is because they've got a huge back catalogue of stuff that they don't really make money off any longer, so they might as well give it away for almost free.
You've preempted where I was going to go with that. Yeah, it's like, how is that going to work on the new PS4? Because they're not going to have a catalogue. They're not going to...
No.
Well, unless that Gaikai thing suddenly starts working real good suddenly.
Yeah, that ain't going to work from the bat straight off.
No, but you might be right. Maybe PS Plus will include access to Gaikai. That sounds like a given. And then maybe when it's been out for a while, you'll start getting back catalogue-y stuff and, perhaps access to PSN titles at the cheap rates that they have and things like that. But you're right. It's going to be interesting to see how Sony do that because they've raised their own bar quite high with this. So how does it really factor into the next system? Will be interesting to see. So anyway, he got a ton of stuff, and naturally I played a bit of it. So I played a bit of DOA 5.
Cool.
For boobs. And it's you can't not play that game and not talk about boobs. Because it's just like...
is it still terrible, is what you're saying, basically? Is the boob physics still terrible, even after all this time?
You know what? In a weird way, I think they've actually made it better. In a good way. Like, they're still like... The physics of them seem a bit too slow-mo, if you know what I mean. Like, there's a bit too much, going on.
They take a long time to catch up.
Yeah, do you know what I mean?
You stop moving and they still jiggle for quite a while.
Yeah, they take too long to settle. If they'd doubled the simulation speed, perhaps, of the jiggle, then it might seem more realistic. But they're not as bad as they have been, let's put it that way. It's a little bit subtler than DOA Extreme, where they're all over the place.
What the fuck?
It was nuts. Yeah, but they're there, and whatever. They did that. They've still done that thing. And Kippers just couldn't help but show me this. Like they've done that.
The boob zoom.
The boob zoom is back.
Yeah!
The boob zoom, that's one thing they brought back. But also, do you remember that feature they added to Ninja Gaiden on the PS3?
The individual boob jiggle?
It involves the 6-axis.
Individual boob jiggle.
Well, no, that was introduced in DOA Extreme, like where the physics model allowed it.
No, I didn't mean that. I did mean the Ninja
the 6-axis jiggle. Yeah, you can shake the 6-axis during the beginning and end of fight scenes to make the boobs randomly move.
What the fuck?
And it looks totally fucked up.
Like independent of any kind of
Yeah,
force.
any kind of outside inertia, and it just looks really dumb. It's like, why would you do that?
Oh,
It's like, this is the weird thing is this is after Tecmo made a bit of a thing after Itagaki left the studio, like saying, you know, we're going to sort of like mature this up a bit.
Yeah.
And it's like, and they've still left the 6-axis jiggle in there. We didn't try it on the men. We did. I don't want to see either their boobs or some other trouser section moving. Yeah, so that was pretty dumb. I wonder if you could shake it and like random muscles would flex or something. Like you see like biceps twitch or something.
That'd be weird. And
they still sort of play to the sexual element in dumb ways as well. Like, so when you lose a fight, you get this scene of them sort of collapsing to the floor, and then they're sort of breathing heavily when they're down there, sort of going, and then the camera sort of pans around, so it's then facing them in the face. But of course, that naturally means cleavage shot. So it's like, oh my god. And even when you win, they go to the effort of like standing there, you know, doing their pose, but they make this little tiny bead of sweat run down the side of their face. Like, it's just so weird in terms of what they're doing with the presentation. It's not consistent, and they do a weird frame ratey, jumpy thing that I always hate when games do. You know, they're in the game at 60 frames per second. As soon as they cut away to something that's not the fight, it drops to 30.
Right.
It's like, I hate it when they do that. It's such a weird jump. Yeah. So they do that. Gameplay-wise, like all the important stuff out of the way. Gameplay-wise, plays pretty much exactly like DOA 4, as far as I can tell. It's kind of refreshing in a way, because it's kept, like, unlike the weird streamlining that's been happening with all the other fighting games, this one seems quite happy in its stance of saying, we're just going to throw out ridiculous numbers of move combos. Like, so you enter you enter, like, move training, and it says, here, I'm going to give you 150 different strings you can pull off. And you're like, fuck!
That's a lot.
That's tons per character. And you're like, well, okay, you've gone to... And it's kind of refreshing because it's the old school model. It's the old Tekken model. It's the old Soul Calibur model. It's like, just have tons of moves. And yeah, they're all there. And it's like, admittedly, some of them are kind of repeats, but it's the way that you can combo moves into each other that aren't separate moves, and you don't need to know the mechanics exactly of how the move system works. You know, like with Street Fighter, you need to know the difference between chains and links in order to time when you do the inputs in order for a move to become a combo. In this, it's like, no, there's just a sequence, you do that, and it combos it together. It's like, oh, fine, that keeps that element simple.
Oh.
But, yeah, it's pretty much the same game. They've tried to make the stages a little bit more entertaining, so, like, you can hit people into things, and that could cause the stage to break, or bits of it to start tilting, or something environmental could start to fall, and if it lands on you, you take damage, you know, things like that. So they've tried to make the stages a bit more of an intrinsic part of the fight. Not that you can really control sometimes where you are exactly. You know, something will be falling and it'll be falling off camera, and all of a sudden it'll just go blat, and you'll be like, oh shit.
I can't remember if it was Dead or Alive 5 where there's a level where there's just like a tiger cage at the side of the arena where if you bash against it enough, you can let the tiger out and it just mauls them.
There is a certain stage, and I think there was a tiger in it. Yeah, so that might have been the one. I didn't get the tiger count. One of the weirder ones was like you're in a war zone. Like, you're just having a casual fight in a war zone, and you can,
I think I've seen that as well.
You can flip someone over a sandbag wall, and all of a sudden they get pushed back into the fight by a tank ramping over the sandbag wall. Or you can hit someone into a door, and they'll go, ooh, and they'll get stunned for a bit, and then a missile will come from afar and land on them. It's nuts. It's a great spectacle, but it just doesn't make any sense. And the story? Oh my god, the story is bad.
Well, at least it's...
I know, but it's so bad. It's like... They went to more effort than Soul Calibur, let's put it that way. So there's proper cutscenes and there's proper things. But none of it makes any sense.
I think I've seen some of that as well.
Yeah, people just end up in random locations, and everyone seems to want to kick Bayman's ass. that makes no sense. But it did highlight one extra bit of the boob physics that you can't help but note. Helena likes to stand like with her arms crossed, and it seems they've added the ability for boobs to be affected by other objects because she'll squeeze them a little.
Classic.
It's like it seems all of their effort on this game has gone into boob physics once again.
Oh.
So that was DOA 5. It's entertaining in its own stupid way. Kind of glad I ended up with Soul Calibur and not that now.
Jesus.
So then we spent pretty much the rest of the evening playing F1 Race Stars.
Yeah.
Which is, it's pretty good fun, actually. I quite like it.
Sure, it's probably alright.
It's like, it's blatant Mario Kart clone. But they do some things differently, which I quite like. For instance, there's no power slide mechanic because you're in F1 cars.
Yeah.
So the cars don't slide, so you actually have to kind of drive around the tracks in places. When there's a sharp corner, you have to brake.
Right.
It's like, this feels weird in a kart racing, and it took us several races to work this out. It's like, there is no power slide. We actually have to take this corner properly.
Right.
And they have the way they sort of blend the world with F1 is quite nice because they go around like just countries, so that they have the ability of using like country themes in their levels, which I don't think any kart racer has really done before. So it's like, at least not quite so
maybe not kart racer
vividly, I guess.
like Screamer 2 or something.
Yeah, that kind of thing. So but they use like tropes from various places. Mm-hmm. So it's Germany has the autobahn on it and has like Oompa music going on,
naturally,
which is pretty great. The styling is pretty nice. They've gone for like a sort of cell shady sort of look, but without the black lines around it. That sort of like solid shadowing.
I like TimeSplitters 2 kind of style.
Yeah, kinda. It's more like the Wind Waker look, if you know what I mean. Because that wasn't exactly celly because it didn't have the outlines.
Did it not? Wind Waker had the outlines, didn't it? Well, maybe
in
not
place,
to the extent
not
of
so
Jet Set Radio.
In places, but you know what I mean. Yeah. They had that. The shading was like always like a hard line of colour.
Yeah, that's so cool.
So yeah, it has that look. It's just pretty nice, and the animations are super nuts. Like the intro sequence between a race is pretty cool because you get a scene of someone like randomly appearing in their car. But like the way they do it is like there's several of them. But my favourite one is just the one where someone just casually rises out of the seat and just goes. Like, and the caricatures of the race drivers are pretty funny as well. Button looks pretty funny, and Schumacher definitely looks like Schumacher with his enormous chin. It's and the way they factor curves in is quite nice as well. Because like there has a curves mechanic. Like on certain corners, the floor is all blue and lit up, and if you have to do this weird thing where if you pump R basically, a bit like F-Zero in a weird way, where you hold it, you have to release it and push it down again, and it charges a battery segment. And then you release it and hold it down again, and it charges another battery segment. And you can do that 3 times. And if you manage to do that without going off the track during that segment, which is always on a sharp corner, or majority of the time on a sharp corner, you leave the segment with a boost, and it gets more powerful, obviously, depending on how much curves you build up. And it's like they've played with the world quite nicely. Nice. And some of the extra games are quite nice, like there's an elimination mode and blah 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 blah. But when you get knocked out, you're actually still in the race, and you're a ghost, and your prime directive is to just fuck with everyone on the track. So hey, it's pretty fun, and it lets you play the full career in multiplayer as well. So the 3 of us were just going through the full career mode, all at the same time on split screen. It was great. So I actually quite like it.
All right.
Yeah.
You have to see how it compares to Sonic and Sega All-Stars.
Racing Transformed, which I now own.
Sweet.
Because it was on Steam sale.
Yeah, I saw it was on. All Sonic games were on sale.
They were, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like the Sonic pack was just sitting there looking at me. It's like, I could have every Sonic game for £27. Oh, wait, I have all of them.
Wait a minute, I have every Sonic game ever.
With the possible exception of, like, Sonic Adventure DX, I guess.
You don't want that shit. Get out your Dreamcast.
Get out the Dreamcast, yeah, do it probably.
Yeah, and you don't even want the game, you just want a certain specific set of cutscenes and sound.
Oh no. My power is carry on. Oh yeah, carry on. Some of that stuff was great. Oh no.
Classic.
Yeah. That's pretty much what I've been doing. As much as I said I wouldn't keep playing Outwitters as well. I started another couple of games.
Yeah.
It's really good. It's just
Apart from when it's not.
Yeah, apart from when it breaks. So it hasn't broken again. So maybe that was a one-off. But I think that's about it, really. Zac and I did. Well, we all played Torchlight.
We all played Torchlight too.
Yeah.
So yes, we talk about that.
We need to play more.
We did play
Yeah.
more. We're only like a couple of hours in, aren't we?
Yeah.
Yep. I'm up
We
for
basically
more.
had to rerun the start of the game for Dan.
Yeah. I don't know
is
if
the
I'm
thing.
caught up. Probably not.
I think we have now.
We had to
think?
game it a little bit, didn't we? Because we had to join Dan's game so all the enemies respawned.
Well, yeah, that is a problem with that game. But it's fine. We're all the same level now, pretty much, and we've got to the point of the game where me and Rob got to.
We're at the same spot.
I need to actually concentrate on like the items and stuff because I wasn't really paying attention.
Well, you need to have. I think what you need to do is just like log in and look at your character without playing.
Yeah.
Just actually have a moment to read, so you're not pressurized by the pressure of having to spend our time doing things instead of sitting in menus.
Yeah.
Yeah, I tend not to really pay too much. It's like the Guild Wars effect, isn't it? So much is going on. You don't, unless you're in Lion's Arch in Guild Wars, you're not really paying attention to what you're picking up. You're just stashing it to one side. It's like the problem with Torchlight is that happens like
all the time, and you
All
actually
the time.
need to look at it because you do need to upgrade frequently.
yeah, it's a lot more. There's a lot, but it feels like there's always a lot more to manage in Torchlight, even though there isn't. There's actually less things to manage in Torchlight than there is Guild Wars, but it's just
Feels like a lot of item management, but yeah, it's lighter weight.
And you also need well, I guess you do need to technically do it in Guild Wars as well, but you do need to have have at least one time to just look at all the skills and see what you're building the character towards.
Yeah.
Like what you're actually.
I found that there was quite a period of time during our playthrough before I actually sat down and said, well, how do I want to play this? And I pretty much decided on. I quite liked being a minion guy in the first one, so I'm going to go minions again, damn it.
Yeah.
Like filling the screen with swarms of my
Minions.
underlings I was going to go for, but
Obviously, I've just been bashing things.
Yeah, you went
That's
for
the
the
way
melee.
Yes,
That's fine.
that's cool.
I don't really know what the melee skills are, which is the other problem.
Well, I
I can't really help you there.
A basic one that I was working towards the early one is like you get health back from crits
Yeah,
or something.
I think that was how I was specking. I was going for like tank basically.
Yeah.
Once your charge bar gets full, you just basically become invulnerable.
Yeah.
Because you're gaining so much health with every hit.
Yeah, that's the plan.
And I think the other thing that I was saying to Rob about Torchlight 2 is you have, because of the way you have to play a lot more to position, like you actually have to evade things. You can't just stand there and take it any longer. Now it like puts slightly more emphasis on like having at least one skill that will let you do some kind of evasion or something.
Like a teleport or something.
Yeah, like Rob, you've got the like
jump
back
back.
flip.
Yeah, which is quite useful.
So you don't get boxed in or something.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll look for something like that.
I think there is the one that I remember from when I was playing the melee characters. It's basically just a charge attack that goes through everything.
Right.
So you just use that to boost out of the way, basically.
I
Right.
do find myself wishing it had slightly less mouse-centric controls.
Well, yeah.
Because everything's on the mouse.
Clickety, clickety, click.
Yeah, it's like I kind of wish it had a WASD moment. Like, because the Guild Wars controls for me just work. They work perfectly for how I play that.
Well, yeah, the third person.
Yeah. But I sort of wish I could still do that, like aim with the mouse, perhaps, and move around sometimes. Because, I don't know, I find myself, like, clicking on something. It's like, no, I don't actually want you to move. It's like,
I agree.
or the difference between, like, moving to just, because I'm ranged, the difference between moving to just far enough where I can reach them and not charge right up to them in the face. Which seems to be a bit random, but probably because there's so much shit going on. Well, if I'm clicking on the floor next to them,
yeah,
or
that would be
on them.
If provided you're holding the mouse button down on a target, then you'll only move to the limit of your range. But if you happen to click on the ground next
drift
to
off, or I find myself just holding shift the whole time.
Yeah, that's how you play range characters on Torchlight.
But then I don't know if I'm actually hitting them.
Yeah, you have to pay attention a little bit. So,
but it does put a strain on my hands playing like that, because you're clicking a lot, and I'm holding shift.
Yeah.
And it's,
click less is the trick. You don't have to click for every attack, just hold it.
I know, I need to learn that. Because I'm just sitting there going...
Oh, right, okay.
I mean, I've noticed that, because, they do that stupid spinny thing where you just hold down shift and go, woo!
To rotate like a fool.
Awesome. So yeah, that was cool.
Clicking.
Yeah. More
We'll play
clicking.
some more of that. I'm withholding my judgment. Yeah, it seems to. It seems to have. I don't know. There's a feel about its setting that I don't think is quite there that I liked from the first one. Maybe that's because it's
the
not.
first
in
one didn't
caves.
really have a setting. It was
I don't know,
like,
but the cave.
here's a
maybe it's-
random selection of environments.
But maybe it's something to do with the lighting of the caves or something like that, sort of dark with the bright blue lighting.
Well, I guess it's like
mines or
when you're in caves. When you're in caves, it's more legitimate to have an edge of the world because it's just a wall of rock.
Yeah.
Whereas when you're out in the open, it's just like, here's a sort of weird, lumpy bit of landscape that I can't run over any longer.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? I think there's something about because of the
and also it's
the
like,
lighting of outside is more uniform, I guess. It's like it sort of loses some of that ethereal.
yeah, and you're not enclosed or anything. And I guess when you're outside, it's like there's less opportunity to do fancy lighting.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
Like weird glowing crystals or whatever.
Or fancy water ripples. Or it's kind of the stuff that Trine was really good at.
Yeah. But I guess we haven't really been through very much dungeons yet.
No.
Because we've only done one of the main ones.
I say, when we're holding my judgment on that, it's like, but that's the first few hours give me that feel.
But yeah, I guess it's a lot of that. It's those, because there's always the main hub area where it's just one big map.
Mm.
And there's like
but it was always
three
like
or four of those.
It was like a perpetual twilight, wasn't it, in the first game? Even the town area was kind of like always night.
Yeah, I guess.
And had all the light sources.
And now it's always
sort of just overcast.
it's always daytime, or whether it does have some kind of, whether the different areas are in.
But it doesn't seem like perfectly light, does it? It feels like a cloudy day to me.
Maybe.
It's definitely not brightly lit sort of picture.
Well, we are in the sort of mountainous kind of, I guess it's sort of like wet area.
Mm.
Maybe it'll be, I mean, there's the desert,
so yeah,
be different.
I hope that'll be bright.
We'll see.
Yeah, Torchlight 2. Dan, you been playing much?
Not much. Played that. I've been sitting down thinking, I need to play something, but I don't know what I want to play out of all these things that I've got going. I played a bit more of KotOR last night or whatever, but I don't know. I'm on Narshadar. Usual stuff going on. Usual ridiculous video game stuff, like you murder someone someone's having a fight in a bar with their girlfriend, and you say, "Why you pick on your girlfriend?" And he's like, "Fuck you," and you murder him in right in the middle of the bar. No one notices. You immediately go up to the bartender. And he's like, "Hey, how you doing?" Doesn't even mention the fact that you just killed someone right in front of the goddamn.
It must happen all the time.
Yeah, but I was hoping for a bit of dialogue, like "Sorry about the mess" or something. You know,
maybe.
But
hey,
that would have been awesome in Star Warsy.
I hope you've got like a hygiene bot or something.
Yeah.
Hygiene bot.
Clean up all this blood.
Yeah.
Or whatever it's called when it's in an alien.
Yeah.
I think it's just called blood. It was a generic term.
It's called blood in animals.
The scientists might have called it something else.
Or like Ichor or whatever, word it's demons.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what it is in Dwarf Fortress.
I don't know. So there's a Bazak den, so I'm going to have to play some Bazak, I think, to move the story forward. So that's great. I have to buy some cards, play that stupid game, which is basically blackjack. Except I think it goes to 20 instead of 21, which is irritating. Is that right? I can't remember.
A bit like that. Is it? It's a bit like that Hilo game, isn't it? Or what do they call it in Mass Effect? Quasar, yeah.
Well, it's the same deal, isn't it?
Yeah, same game.
Yeah.
BioWare making the same game again.
Yeah. Well, at least it isn't some super involved trading card game like in that Final Fantasy game.
That was good.
That shit's awesome.
Yeah, okay.
It's actually a game within the game.
Yeah, to the point I played way too much of that. Triple Triad.
Did you see, news-wise, did you see Blizzard have announced a card game? Yeah. Well, not a literal card game, but is it? I don't think they're going to be printing cards.
No, it's a cross-platform video game.
They already have a card game.
Do they?
Yeah, they already have World of Warcraft card.
CCG. Oh, do they?
Okay.
So is that it? Is this it, though?
No, I don't think
computerized. It's not. It's a new thing.
Okay. It'll probably be like Spellforge.
Right.
Where, like, things you do are based on cards, but that's just a way of saying you get a random selection of attacks.
Right.
Or whatever.
It'd be interesting to see what their model is for this, because Magic has two models they operate under at the moment for online stuff. They have the annual game.
Yeah.
Which basically plays out like an introduction to Magic almost, but they're quite well made.
It's cool. I like Tales of Planeswalkers.
I still haven't played 2013, but I got a copy of that. But, 2012 was fine. Oh, I finished. Actually, I did that. Actually, I finished the Arch Enemy campaign on 2012.
Fucking Archie.
I haven't finished the Revenge. I haven't got anywhere with the Revenge campaign because that's where that game's model falls apart for me. Because they all have all the unlocked cards that I don't have access to because they're behind a paywall.
Right, so they just kick your ass.
So the game just becomes like no good at that point.
That's done.
Yeah, so that's the problem with the model on that one, and the somewhat limited nature of the decks and your inability to.
I heard that the new one is going to have the Jewels of the Planeswalkers 2014. It's going to have the whole.
Well, that's better.
Standards. What's it called? Edition.
The whole edition. Yeah, that's better. Holy crap! They should have done that in the first place.
Yeah. Well,
whatever.
Maybe they're testing the waters.
And the other model is this thing does still exist of Magic Online, which is a fully playable online edition of the game, but it has the same purchase model as the real life card game. So you still have to buy cards at the same prices
as physical cards.
And I have a bit of a problem there because, I've always sort of got the high cost of an actual collectible game because there's a sort of, I don't know, maybe for me at least, there's this sense of, this is actually rare. They only printed so many of these cards.
I guess, but that's an illusion though, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. But
what you're
because it's a physical
thing,
there's a certain... I don't know, I have a tangible...
I see what you mean.
I have a tangible thing with the cost of that item because it's a physical item. As soon as it goes digital, I'm just like, I don't really want to be paying £6 for a 6-card booster pack or whatever the fuck it is.
It is dumb, but I guess people must want to, otherwise it wouldn't exist.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. It is the natural evolution of the model.
Yeah.
But I think perhaps the pricing structure, they aimed high.
Yeah, obviously they've aimed high, and
it's like, for me, it just falls apart as soon as it's non-physical. That price, it always was a bit, it always was expensive.
It's expensive,
but there were ways around it if you were super into it and just buy the ridiculous
giant boxes
like Kippers does. Yeah,
because what you're paying for is their design, their artwork.
Yeah,
you're not actually paying for cards.
And when you think about it, the amount of art they must generate for Magic the Gathering.
And the design is, they have got better at it. It's not easy to come up with those cards. And they're good at balancing that shit now.
And, they went for a resurgence, didn't they? A couple of editions ago where they suddenly said, you know what, we're going to sort of, start again.
Yeah.
Although there is a bit of power creep going on.
Yeah, there's been power creep for a long time. Someone at work has built a deck and it's
can't play the old cards against the new.
Everything's just nothing's broken, but everything's just a bit more ridiculous than it used to be.
Yeah, two to cast for a 2/2 with no extras. It felt like a good.
That was the classic.
Yeah,
and Grizzly Bears. Right?
Yeah.
But you had Muscle Silver, which is strictly better than Grizzly Bears.
Yeah, because it's 2 to cast for a 1/1 that becomes +1/+1 to all other slivers. So it's like, but then
including
again,
yourself.
But then again, it
so
didn't
make
2/2. Yeah, Muscle Slivers on their own was inherently better, but it made sense to play with a whole sliver deck. Blah 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 blah. Which was a whole other problem.
Yeah.
But then nowadays it's hard to not have a card that's not like a 2 to cast 2/2 with some crazy powerful ability. I haven't quite got my head around things like Bloodthirst and things like that. I know because they're
keywords.
They're that's the problem with Magic 2012 actually, and I hope they're better than that in 2013. Is that they use a lot of keywords they don't explain.
Right, yeah. Because usually there's some common card in the pack that it has the explanation, but then the rarer ones, because they have other abilities, they just put the keyword on.
Yeah.
And then you need to have the other cards.
There's that whole vampire deck in 2012, which has the Bloodthirst mechanic on it.
Yeah.
And I have no idea how the fuck that works. But all I know is that if used right, your creatures get more powerful permanently. And it's like...
Right.
I don't know if you have to play it, or it seems that way.
Is that just +1/+1 for everything you kill or something?
Well, that's what I thought, but I don't think it is. I think it's something to do with you have to play it on a turn in which something has died or you have caused death of. So you have to be mindful that you're playing it in your second main phase or something in order for it to get... I don't know, I couldn't figure it out. And the game does explain nothing about it.
That sucks.
And there's another card that's a bit like... I think it's like one of those pestilency sort of cards, like Diseasey, where, play... destroy target creature sort of ones, but it has this weird word that I've never quite understood and seems to be a bit random.
Exuberance.
No, No.
Bringing it back at the end there.
No.
I had to get one more in.
No. I now understand what that means. It's like, but no, it's proliferate.
Oh, right.
It's like they don't explain what that means.
That'll be
But sometimes it can destroy everything on the fucking table, and other times
Right.
it'll be, I'm just destroying that card.
It's got like a chain reaction.
Yeah.
I think, yeah.
Of some kind. And I don't know what that is. The game doesn't explain, and I never could be asked to go look it up.
Okay. So that's magic.
But yeah,
And-
it'll be interesting to see. The point was, Hearthstone, if they play the online CCG model like Magic Online, it'd be interesting to see how that fares.
It will be interesting, indeed. We'll get to see how they do over at Blizzard with their online CCG.
Yeah. And the cross-platform stuff makes a lot more sense if you can just get all your cards on any device. Then
Yeah, play it on the bus.
Yeah.
On your phone or some shit.
Could work.
Cool. Well, thanks for joining us for another Saladcast. Next week we'll probably have more SimCity bug reports, I would have thought. Or maybe they'll have patched the game for after Zach's humongous dreadnought.
Okay, tell them all what's
50
up.
million viewers.
Yeah.
Right, yes.
Zach knows what's up. Fuck you guys.
Watch out.
Here's the Oracle.
I think it might be pizza time.
Yeah.
Good
Or
God,
it
yes.
might be time to wait a long time for pizza to be delivered in the snow.
Oh, yeah. I know, but the roads are fine.
Yeah, it'll be fine. No
The roads are fine.
Okay, cool. Right, yes. Catch you next time. Well done, Eddie, for big wedding, and see you
Again.
later. Bye.
Bye-bye. Gentlemen, you get bone.